Okay, good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Wednesday, the 15th day of December in the year 2021. This is a regular meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. In effort to adhere to social distancing protocols and best practices imposed by the city and state authorities, the city of Jersey City has canceled all public meetings and closed non-essential services as of March 16, 2020 until further notice. As a result, this council meeting will be held virtually as a video conference with public access. We had a scheduled 6 p.m. start. The clock on my computer is showing exactly 6 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Here.
Councilperson Saleh is not here yet. Okay. Councilperson Solomon. Not here yet. Councilperson Robinson.
Here.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera.
Here.
And Council President Waterman.
Here.
Okay, we have seven council members in attendance at 6 p.m. Can we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please?
Sean, I have three. Battalion Chief for the Jersey City Police Department, Chief John T. Ruddy. Detective, Hoboken Police Department, Mario Novo. And Bill Tarrant.
Sean, I have one, Barbara Walker, my sister-in-law who served the community.
They all rest in peace. Thank you very much. Kindly remain standing as we salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. On behalf of Council President Waterman, in accordance with New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2021, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Wednesday, November 12th, 2020. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, December 10th, 2021 at 5 p.m. to the Municipal Council, Mayor, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website, so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Just to do a little double check, I know that Councilperson Saleh will be joining us shortly, and not sure about Councilman Solomon, but if either councilman does appear, please just let me know so I can mark you present for the record. So, council members, there are no first reading ordinances due to the fact that we will be having a new council sworn in on January 1st. So that's why we do not put any first readings on the meeting. So we're going to move right to our second reading ordinances, and just a reminder to members of the public. Here. Councilperson Saleh, thank you very much. So Councilperson Saleh, I will mark you present at 6:04 p.m. So we now have 8 council members present at 6:04 p.m. As I was saying, members of the public, if you wish to speak on one of the second reading ordinances, this is the time to let us know, and you can let us know through the live event Q&A and provide us with your full name and telephone number, and we will patch you through the meeting. If you have signed up electronically to speak on a second reading ordinance, a member of my staff will be calling you shortly, or will be calling you now if you're on one of these, one of the second reading ordinances. With that being said, allow me to read into the record the first second reading ordinance, item 4.1, City Ordinance 21-076. It's an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, authorizing the execution and delivery of subsidy agreement with the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency to secure the payment of the principal of and interest on up to $18 million bonds and/or project notes to be issued by said agency in connection with the implementation of a redevelopment project on certain real property located at 68-74 SIP Avenue and 164-168 SIP Avenue. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number, and we will patch you through the meeting. I believe we have our first speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yvonne Bolser.
Okay, Yvonne, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, basically what I would like to know is that who is responsible for the payment of these bonds? Is it the city of Jersey City, which is taxpayers, or is it the redevelopment agency, and where do they get their money from? So if someone could answer that question, I would appreciate it.
John?
Thank you, Council President. So this would be done through the redevelopment agency, and as the project is fulfilled, and there's any deals that are negotiated for development or however the land is seen fit, those proceeds would be used to benefit the pay down of the debt. What we're doing here tonight with this ordinance is to back up the debt for credit rating purposes, to allow that the city would pick up any default payments if there were to calculate any.
Basically
Okay.
speaking, when the budget happens the following year, will I see a line item for this payment on the budget for $18 million? Will I see that line there?
There will be $0 in our municipal budget for that. It just goes on to our liability sheet for future in case there is a issue with the debt in a existing year past next year. So it'll have no dollar impact on our municipal budget at this point.
Okay, I will be looking forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, this is still a public, I'm sorry, this is still a public hearing on ordinance 21-076. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. While we wait, I just wanted to mark Councilperson Solomon present at 6:06 p.m. So we now have all nine council members present at 6:06 p.m. Okay, I believe, do we have another speaker on the line? If you can identify yourself for the record, please. No? Okay. If anyone has already spoken, please hang up the line so we can get the next speaker patched through. Okay, this is still a public hearing on ordinance 21-076. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. This is the last call for the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-076. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. It's going to be hard not to say that anymore when we go back live.
Let's go.
Okay, council members, no other
Okay.
member of the public has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-076?
Motion.
Motion was
Second.
made by Councilperson Rivera and seconded by Councilperson Baggiano. On the motion to close the
Yes.
public hearing, On City Ordinance 21-076, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
We have a 9-0 vote to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-076.
Sean, we have to amend this one, correct?
I believe that there was discussion at the caucus
Mhm.
regarding the amendment.
Correct.
I did invite our bond counsel, just in case there's any questions on the amendment. But I need a motion to amend it and what we are amending and how we're amending.
Okay, I'll motion to amend it, but I know the clause has to be, the affordable housing clause has to be added in there. Redevelopment. Do you have the language? I thought they sent it over. Everything was sent over.
So what I have here is we want to include a whereas. And I'll
Right,
read it into the record. The whereas by resolution number 21-539 adopted on July 14th, 2021, the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City expressed its conditional support for the purchase of the property, stating that the city's acquisition of the property would be beneficial to the city and expressing the Municipal Council's preference that the property be used to expand the city's affordable housing program.
correct.
This whereas is going to go right before, therefore it be ordained, excuse me.
Okay. All right,
So
Yeah, this
we
is
have-
Peter Baker, Corporation Counsel, just confirming that the change that the clerk read into the record is not a substantial change. It does not affect the actual functioning of this ordinance. It calls attention to and expresses the council's support for the affordable housing aspect of this.
Thanks so much, Peter. So we have a motion to amend Ordinance 21-076 by Council President Waterman. May I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to give that quick second to Councilperson Navarro. On the motion to amend City Ordinance 21-076, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
aye,
Motion to amend City Ordinance 21-076 is approved 9-0. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-076 as amended, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
aye.
City Ordinance 21-076 as amended is adopted unanimously 9-0. Okay. Moving on to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.2. Yes,
Sorry, this is Councilman Navarro. Council President, I forgot, could we defer to Resolution 21-865, which is a ceremonial resolution to honor, I'm sorry, I got the wrong number. 21 gosh. 40, 868, I'm sorry. Which is 1047 on the agenda. Number 47 on the agenda, which is a resolution recognizing and honoring Ramona Ponte Jr. He's waiting in the wings.
He's online, right? He's from,
Yes.
okay, Sean, let's just refer to that one because I think he's waiting in the wings somewhere out there in Cyberland.
Okay, so we have a motion to defer to item, let me just get that again, item 10.47,
Mhm.
resolution number 21-868. Motion was made by Councilperson Lavaro,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Saleh.
Mhm.
On the motion to defer to item 10.47, resolution 21-868, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson,
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to defer to item 10.47, resolution 21-868.
May I read into the record, Council President?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Ponte, thank you for joining us this evening. If you'll give me an opportunity, I'll just read this resolution into the record, and
Mhm.
then the city council will vote on it, I believe.
Yes.
And then you'll have an opportunity to say a few words if you'd like. This is a resolution to the general public. This is a resolution recognizing and honoring Ramona Ponte Jr. for exceptional service as a United States Marine and Jersey City police officer. And it reads, whereas Gunnery Sergeant Ramona Ponte Jr. was raised in Jersey City, attending grammar school at PS 37 and then Hudson Catholic High School. And whereas after graduating in 1999, Ramona Ponte enlisted in the United States Marine Corps as an infantryman. And whereas in 2003, then Corporal Ponte was deployed to Iraq, where he was assigned to covert reconnaissance missions with the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit. And whereas in 2005, then Sergeant Ponte was deployed to Al Anbar province in Iraq, where he was responsible for providing security for supply convoys. And whereas in this role, Sergeant Ponte conducted over 250 missions in 9 months without any losses or injuries to his unit, and for this was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. And whereas Gunnery Sergeant Ponte was deployed a third time, this time to Africa as the operations chief to a special operations mission, where he was responsible for ensuring the training of African military forces by U.S. Marines and the training of embassy guards. And whereas Gunnery Sergeant Ponte is a 16-year veteran of the Jersey City Police Department, serving as an instructor at various police academies, where he is responsible for training officers from Jersey City, as well as numerous other municipalities. Officer Ponte retired in September 2021. And whereas Gunnery Sergeant Ponte is pursuing a second master's degree in public administration at Penn State University. And whereas in 2020, Gunnery Sergeant Ponte was awarded the New Jersey Distinguished Service Medal, the highest award that the state can give to its citizens who served in time of war or national emergency. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the city of Jersey City does hereby recognize and honor Gunnery Sergeant and Jersey City Police Officer Ramona Ponte Jr. for his exceptional service to the United States of America and to his hometown of Jersey City. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.
Ray, the council's gonna take a vote and then you'll get the chance to speak right after.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. All right. So as Councilperson Lavaro read into the record so eloquently, the resolution, council members, we're going to be taking a vote on resolution 21-868. Councilperson Ridley,
thank you for your service, and I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilperson Prinzary.
Thank you for your service to the city of Jersey City and to our nation. With that, I happily vote aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Ponte, I've worked with you at the police academy. I think I also taught you in the police, when you became a recruit in the police department.
You
It
have,
was nice
sir.
knowing you. Yeah, it was nice knowing you, and Semper Fi.
Thank you.
And your vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilperson Saleh.
Thank you for your heroism and for your service, and I vote enthusiastically aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
I've gotten the pleasure to know Ray over the last 4 years, and he is the true epitome of a servant to the city and this country, and really a model for what we ask of any person to really spend their life giving back to all of us. So thank you, Ray, for everything you do, and I vote aye.
Thank you.
Councilperson Robinson.
Thank you for your service, sir. I definitely vote aye.
Thank you.
Councilperson Navarro.
Ray, it's been a pleasure as working with you and to have come to know you. You're an exceptional person and human being, and whether your service in the military and as a police officer, you exhibit extraordinary integrity and just exceptional skills. I've also seen that as well. And the city will sorely miss your services here in Jersey City. But I know there's big things, even bigger things ahead for you, I'm sure. You've got extraordinary talents, and it's been a privilege. And I look forward to continuing to stay connected with you in whatever capacity for either of us. I happily vote aye.
Thank you.
Councilperson Rivera.
My brother, as we say in the Marine Corps, we sure chew the same dirt, man. And I love you for that. You're my brother in arms as a Marine, but you're also family. For everybody here that doesn't know, my youngest brother is married to Ray Ponte's sister. And, we've been through it all. Your advocacy for the police department has been amazing. You'll definitely be missed in these ranks, but I'm sure, like Councilman Rolando Navarro said, you're moving on to bigger and better things. I personally want to thank Councilman Navarro, for recognizing you, because you deserve that, Ray, and you really did our city well. And as one Marine to another Marine, man, you did our nation amazing, So I love you, Gunny, and hoorah, semper fi.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you.
I believe I got your vote, Councilperson Rivera, right? It's aye?
Definitely aye.
Okay. And Council President Waterman.
Ray, I want to say thank you. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave, because people like you make a decision to sacrifice their life. That's why America lives the way it does. So I want to say thank you for your service, and I do wish you well, and may Godspeed be with you in all that you do. God bless you, Ray. I really do appreciate all your service. I vote aye.
Thank you, Madam President.
Resolution 21-868 is approved unanimously, 9-0. If you would allow me, I would like to just give a nice little virtual clap, hand clap for Mr. Raponte.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Ray, would you like to say a couple of words?
Yes, I don't want to take much of the council members' time. I just want to say thank you. This really means the world to me. Jersey City has always been my heart. Although I grew up in Upper East Side of Manhattan, migrating to Jersey City was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was educated there. I served there. I wound up serving, our country, and I wanted to continue to serve my community. And I was grateful and privileged to serve all residents of Jersey City, and I am honored for your time and for your dedication and for everything you have done. So I say thank you, and I wish you all good journey in your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
service, Ray.
Thank you.
And Ray, this is Councilman LeVar. We'll get you the physical paper copy. We'll mail that out to you. Okay.
Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
Rolando, thank you.
Mhm.
Truly, thank you so much.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
All righty.
Sean.
Such a happy occasion.
Yeah,
Okay, the next second reading ordinance, item 4.2. City Ordinance 21-077 is an ordinance amending and replacing Chapter 187, Inclusionary Zoning of the Municipal Code, requiring all applicable developments to include mandatory on-site affordable housing set aside. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. I believe we have our first speaker on hold. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yvonne Wolfer.
Okay, Yvonne, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, this ordinance does not say exactly how affordable housing will be done. The reason why I bring this up, because December the 1st and December the 8th, the city lists the liens placed on basically the small homeowners. And it was 4,200 homeowners who basically are lien because they can't afford their water or they can't afford their taxes. So what I see from my point of view is that the budget has gone up since you guys got in under this present mayor from $485 million to $626 million, and affordable housing has not contributed any extra money. They just pay whatever the contract says. So I basically want to know, will this be another tax abatement in which me as a small homeowner got to pick up the bill? Because if that's how you do an affordable housing, you're stealing from one group to subsidize another group, and that's stealing, basically what it's all about. Last year, it was 5,000 homeowners in tax lien, and after 2 years' time, they can foreclose on you. So this city tends to ignore the fact, the harm you do to the regular homeowner, the one-family homeowner, the condo owner who's not under consumer price index for rent control or doesn't have a tax abatement. And it's not just Jersey City taxes. The county has gone up, and so has the Board of Ed. So, it's nice to say, oh, we want affordable housing. But as long as Jersey City is the destination spot for immigrants come to the city, you will never have enough affordable housing. Because from the last census until now, this city went up 40,000 residents. Probably they moved here or they came here legally or illegal. I'm not sure of the case. But the point of it is, you'll never satisfy that affordable housing market because you're going to have tenants, regular people, competing against newer residents for that housing. So my issue is, how are you going to pay for this? Are you going to continue take from the small homeowner to subsidize another group? That is what I want to know. That, to me, should be in here. How do you finance this? So if someone could explain that to me, I would have really appreciated it. Instead of just transferring someone's debt to someone else. When I go to the store and buy milk, I'm not buying someone else's container of milk. I am buying milk for me. And I should not, or another homeowner should not lose their home subsidizing somebody else's things. That to me, all of this affordable housing comes down to stealing, and to me, it's immoral. You should not take. Now, how do you provide it? I don't care how you provide it. Explain to us how you're doing this without taking from another group. Because if you can't explain that, you're going back to affordable. You're going back to a tax abatement, which steals from the small homeowner, and that's the honest truth. No
Thank
one
you,
wants to
Yvonne.
address that issue at all, but that's how you do it.
Thank you,
So if
Yvonne.
someone could explain how we do it,
Thank you,
I would
Yvonne.
appreciate it.
Your time is up.
Thank you. Okay. This is still a
Hello.
public hearing on City Ordinance 21-077. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hello.
Is this
Hello,
Miss Molina?
yes, this is she.
Okay, if you can
This is Kate.
state your full name.
Yes, this is Kate Molina. I'm a resident of Jersey City, Ward C. I would like
Okay.
to comment on making the 15% of affordable housing a requirement and push for a 20% affordable housing requirement in Ward E. Diversity should be represented downtown. I suggest the council continue to support a 20% affordable housing for the units in Tier 1, such as San Francisco, New York, and other states across the country who mandate 20% of affordable housing in their cities. Making 15% housing a requirement for Ward E is a good start. However, I believe the city can make housing in Ward E more accessible to lower income residents. This would diversify the neighborhood and include affordable housing for more people of color, keeping the integrity of Jersey City being the most diverse city in the country. So thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you.
This is still a public hearing on Ordinance 21-077. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Anyone else that has finished speaking, if you can hang up the line so we can patch the next speaker into the meeting, it's greatly appreciated. Okay, we're going to get our next speaker on the line. Just bear with us. Just bear with us.
Hello?
Do we have our next speaker on the line? If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Jean Daly.
Okay, Jean, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, I actually have two issues I'd like to address regarding this. One, I do understand what Yvonne is saying, and I feel for the average homeowner who, yes, unfortunately is subsidizing, not subsidizing, I guess so. I mean, their taxes are also going towards repayment of this affordable housing. And I feel that. But my thought is that the developers themselves should be absorbing these fees. Many of these developers are multi-billion-dollar companies. Yet when they cry like they're broke, I don't believe it. I mean, if you look at any of them, Lennar, McCallie, what have you, they're in multiple billion-dollar companies. And the fact that they can't absorb this to relieve the taxpayer really is a shame. Additionally, I would like to also mention that I do believe 20% belongs everywhere across the city. Because otherwise it's discriminatory in a way. I do remember a lot of people like to say that downtown, was blighted and Jersey City was blighted, et cetera. But there were always working class people living here. There were artists here. There were musicians here. And though downtown has become extremely expensive, the breadth and type of resident has changed dramatically. You don't find working class people here anymore. You don't find the richness of the diversity. Now you will find people who are working in the tech industry. They may be from other countries, but they fall into high income brackets. So for that reason alone, I would ask that 20% be put across the boards. I think it's unfair to do otherwise. Jersey City has always housed working class people. It should be restored to that state. It's a shame that it has changed so much. And that's basically what I do have to mention regarding these things. But I do understand Yvonne's point of view, and I do believe that the developers should be absorbing this cost because they can afford it. They can afford it. Thank you.
This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 21-077. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. This is the last call for the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-077. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, council members, no one has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-077?
Motion.
Motion.
That motion was given by Council President Waterman, and I'm going to give the close second to Councilperson Prince Airy for coming in second. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-077, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-077. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-077, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
I think as a council, we got to start considering what Yvonne's saying and what everybody else is saying. I'm going to vote aye, but we have to start worrying about 1- and 2-family homes in the city here and people that can't afford to pay their taxes. And those people that were at the tax lien sale the other day, you feel sorry for a lot of the people that have houses are being put up for tax liens.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Thank you to a whole bunch of people that kind of work to get to the ordinance to this place. Councilman Navarro, Council President Waterman, our planning staff, fair share. I think this is a good compromise. And I think where we go from here is we see how it works. And if we've got to tighten it and make requirements tougher, quicker, then we should do that. And if we do this and we can't get affordable housing built, then we loosen them. And I think this provides a really good framework for us to build on. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Thank you to everyone who was a part of this, Fair Share Housing and the planning department, and all the hard work did get noticed and we got somewhere. So we just want to make sure that we can get some affordable housing built through this, and hopefully that you guys will watch it very carefully, and if we see that there's not being something built, then we go back to the drawing board and make something else happen. But this is definitely a great start and good framework. I vote aye.
Councilperson LeBarrow.
Sean, this is the final vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you'll indulge me, I'm just going to take a few minutes here. So I want to talk about a couple of things before I cast my vote. Just kind of give a little bit of history and background here, because it's been a long road to get to this point and to this inclusionary zoning ordinance. For those who've been following, or for those who haven't been following this, this has started back in 2019. It probably predated that as well, but there were two competing ordinances introduced, inclusionary zoning ordinances. The mayor introduced one, and myself and Council President Waterman at the time, we introduced another ordinance. This ordinance that's before us, and I'll talk more about it, is a lot closer to, and while it's a compromise, it's a lot closer to where we were when myself and the council president introduced the ordinance back in 2019. Following that period, in 2019, there was a committee established, an ad hoc committee of the City Council on Inclusionary Zoning, and that committee commenced in August of 2019 and had at least 7 meetings leading into February of 2020. Where we brought in a lot of different speakers on different subjects related to inclusionary zoning, bringing in residents and seniors, but also bringing in private developers and New Jersey HMFA, Fair Share Housing, Garden State Episcopal, academics, etc., to get their input through that. And then after that, in February 2020, we hit COVID, and that committee process, which was getting towards the end at that point, was derailed, and then we reconvened in July, late July of 2020. And after that, there were probably about 5 or 6 meetings leading into September before an inclusionary zoning ordinance was introduced in October of 2020, which I will say, I'm sure others will dispute this, but didn't resemble the discussions and the negotiations that went on through that committee process, and ultimately adopted an ordinance in October of 2020 that established an inclusionary zoning ordinance, which was a lot closer to what the mayor had introduced back in May of 2019. And what was that ordinance at that time? It was far less stringent than this one currently is, and did not require as much of a mandatory on-site affordable housing set aside for developments, whether in downtown or throughout the rest of the city. And that was established at 5% at that time. That ordinance was passed in October of 2020. There was a lot of vocal opposition, and at that council meeting, over 60 people, I believe, if memory serves me, came out to speak, with almost all of them formally against and opposed to that ordinance at that time. In December of 2020, Fair Share Housing filed a lawsuit for multiple reasons, seeking to invalidate the inclusionary zoning ordinance that was adopted at that time. On August 12th of this year, that ordinance was invalidated by the courts, and basically saying that, particularly with regard to an issue that came up that was prominent in the debates and discussion, the idea of community benefits and being able to kind of sell off affordable housing units for community benefits in lieu of providing those affordable housing benefit opportunities. And the court threw that out and invalidated it. And so that brings us here today, where Fair Share Housing is engaged in negotiations over the past several months. I sat in on the first meeting with the mayor and city council, and it was, and I suggested at that time that Fair Share Housing negotiate with the administration, and particularly the planning professionals, to kind of eliminate the politics from the process. Those negotiations have now culminated with this new IZO, which is before the city council at second reading. For the viewing public, I just want to go through some of the facts of what's going on here with this inclusionary zoning ordinance. And I know this is kind of in the weeds, kind of complicated stuff, but I think it's worth going over. First of all, it applies to all residential developments that obtain 5 or more residential units or 5,000 or more square feet of residential floor area via variance or rezoning or some amendment to a redevelopment plan. It exempts developments of less than 15 units and developments undertaken by the Jersey City Housing Authority. And I'll say more about that in a little while. Residential developments of 15 units and less, as I said, are exempt. The IZO proposes to vary the on-site housing, affordable housing set aside based on the median incomes within an area. And there are kind of 2 areas of the city, one being the upper income and the other being the middle, moderate, low, and very low income. And in that middle, moderate, and low income, 10% of affordable units in a development project, residential development project, would be required to be future residential development projects. We're required to set aside 10% of the units as on-site affordable housing for moderate, low, and very low income residents. And then in the upper income area, they would be required to do 15% of their units. And this IZO provides, requires that developments in the lower income neighborhoods, areas, that if they're receiving a tax abatement, they'll be required to increase the on-site affordable housing set aside from 10% to 15%. What's worth noting is that there are no buyouts, no givebacks, and no waivers for developers to reduce or eliminate their on-site affordable housing set aside, whether it's the 10% in the lower income areas or 15% in the upper income areas. And so I'll quickly go over some of the pros and cons I think that are here, and would like to share that with the public. The first positive, I think, is that this was negotiated with Fair Share Housing with the administration and the city council. It has the endorsement of Fair Share Housing, which is an advocate and was frankly the architect of the original ordinance that I had introduced, myself and the council president introduced back in May of 2019. And they're the ones who filed the lawsuit, and so they're very much pro affordable housing and pro residents and tenants in this regard. The previous IZOs that were introduced and adopted even exempted master plan changes from the set aside requirement. That means if there was a change in the master plan that increased the density and allowed for more units in residential development, they would not necessarily be subjected to any sort of affordable housing set asides. This IZO removes that exemption. The 10 and 15% on-site affordable housing, as I've discussed already, is definitely an increase over the 5% set aside that was previously introduced back in May of 2019 and ultimately adopted as well and overturned by the courts. Again, the tax abatement increases. It's good to codify that for those development projects that are in the lower income neighborhoods and ensuring that there's an increase if they should get a tax abatement of any sort, an increase in the requirement for affordable housing. And lastly, I'll just emphasize the idea that developer loopholes have been completely eliminated. And no buyouts and no waivers, and they can't reduce that requirement of 10 or 15%. Let me just talk briefly about the cons, some of the negatives as I see them. I think the goal here for me, and I've said it all along, if people have been following this, 20% on-site affordable housing throughout Jersey City We see it in Newark, New Jersey. We see it in New York City and San Francisco. We see it in jurisdictions throughout the state of New Jersey and throughout the country. Jersey City is one of the most lucrative real estate markets in the state. And we should be able to do 20%. And if we look at, again, at that tier map and the area median incomes and the pace of development, and particularly in downtown where it's set at 15%, we should definitely be able to get to 20% in downtown. I think that's, I don't think that's a far reach by any stretch of the imagination. I want to point out that, and I brought this up in caucus, the area around like the Bates Avenue redevelopment area, which is over on Center Street. For those who aren't familiar, it's where the 99 Ranch is. Used to be the Pathmark supermarket over there once upon a time. Over there, that area is set aside at 10% because it's considered not an upper income area. While the AMIs may be slightly under 120% AMI, that area as recently as 2019 was proposing to have 4, 5, multiple 50-story buildings being built with nearly 900 units being built over there. And then I also pointed out that if you look at census tract number 8 in the map, this is an area that's also kind of deemed as not an upper income area. That in fact, and I'm not trying to play politics here, but the most visible piece there is that the mayor purchased a second home there in that area for $2.4 million. And so I think most people would be incredulous, as am I, that areas like these are not designated as upper income areas, therefore subjected to a higher affordable housing requirement. Then I would advise moving that AMI down to 100% AMI rather than 120%. And these areas like this would be subjected to that if you're in looking at the map. And then the last thing I would say as a negative on this is that the tax abatements, while it applies in lower income areas, it doesn't apply in upper income areas. And so if a development in downtown Jersey City should get a tax abatement and they're required to do 15%, they can get a tax abatement as well, potentially, without an additional commitment to do any additional affordable housing. And I think that should be rectified because, again, we want to have diversity of communities, and we already know what the neighborhoods in the downtown section of Jersey City are largely upper income, with area median incomes as high as $250,000 for some areas. That being said, I've said all along that I was going to seek public input before before making my decision. I asked a couple of questions of the public, 3 questions in particular, tried to keep it simple. The last question, which I'll read, I asked and sent out a survey asking if and the question read as follows: in comparison to the previous ordinance introduced by Mayor Fulop and his council, the proposed inclusionary zoning ordinance number 1 does not have any developer loopholes, removing any buyout and waiver provisions for developers to reduce or eliminate their on-site affordable housing set-aside requirement. And 2, it increases the mandatory set-asides of on-site affordable housing units, requiring 15% in the more affluent parts of Jersey City and 10% throughout the rest of the city. Do you support this inclusionary zoning ordinance? And I will tell you that the majority of respondents did say yes. But there were 2 types of yeses in the responses that were available. It was yes without reservations, and then there was yes, I support it with reservations. And I heard it echoed, I think, at the last council meeting by one of our speakers, Ms. Elena Little, saying that we should be working in the future towards stronger provisions. This is just a start. And essentially, that's what they largely responded with. And then the other larger response was simply a straight out no, it's not strong enough, and that with over nearly 35% of the respondents saying, I do not support this IZO, it's simply not strong enough, and it should be 20% across the board. I'm going to read a couple of the comments from folks who said that they did support it, but also made some comments about some of their reservations. And in
Rolando,
yes,
if
Councilman.
they called in before and made their comments, I don't think, we want
Well,
to
these
go
people did
over
not
every
call in.
comment of every
These people-
comment.
no.
These
So,
are not the people who called in. They're just people who made,
you know,
responded to a
they
survey.
should, okay, they should call in too, so we can get it as a counsel from them per se.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I'm
they
just going to
should.
put it on the record with this, with my statements here. And it says, from one comment, and I'm abbreviating here in the interest
Okay.
of time. She says, on the one hand, I don't want to see this ICO that is better than the other thrown out. On the other hand, how are we going to remind people of what is right if we are always compromising? Another respondent said, Jersey City is quickly becoming too expensive. I am concerned about how long I can afford to live here, especially because of special redevelopment zones that do not support rent control. I am even more concerned about my neighbors who have lived here for decades, who are quickly finding the city unlivable and are unable to stay in a city they helped to make an amazing place to live. Another respondent said 10 and 15% will not produce a meaningful amount of affordable housing. It undermines one of the key goals of preserving socioeconomic integration in neighborhoods going through transition. And then lastly, I'll just share this, is that it says that Jersey City should be leading the state in affordable housing, ensuring its residents have the most equitable inclusionary zoning ordinance. Mandatory 20% affordable housing units per development should be the requirement citywide. And so those are just a few of the comments that were made. These are from people who do support and want to see the ordinance. And why would they make those comments if they support it? And I think there's a certain amount of resignation, right? The idea that this is the best we can get for now. And so let's, and some exhaustion as well. The idea that this has been an ongoing fight since 2019, May of 2019, and kind of let's put this to rest at this point and try to move forward, and move forward with and focusing on other things as well to ensure that there's other things we can do to make Jersey City more affordable. So I'm going to close with a couple of quick points, right? So first, I want to reiterate that this is a huge improvement over the inclusionary zoning ordinance in the past that was been introduced, and it's a lot closer to what I'd previously introduced back in May of 2019. In particular, there are no developer loopholes in this iteration of the IZO, which is a huge victory for Jersey City residents, something that people fought for. Specific other changes that were either changed along the way throughout, again, that there's no master plan exemption. There is no selling of those affordable units for cash or community benefits. There's no segregation of residents by sending affordable tenants away to offsite units. There's no exemption for developments with 15 to 30 units, which was one of the earlier iterations of this. There is no housing set aside for residents who fall within the 80 to 120% AMI median income. And for folks who don't, maybe that doesn't resonate, that means, for example, for 80 to 120% AMI, right now at 80% AMI in Jersey City, you can get the studio for an affordable housing studio can charge you literally $1,417 per month. That's 80% AMI. And so the 10% and 15% again is a market and huge improvement over the 5%. The second point I want to make again is just that this proposed IZO falls short of the 20%, as well as the other things that I pointed out previously, and I won't reiterate all of those things. Lastly, in casting my vote, I'm going to make 3 points. They're all kind of interrelated. The first being that I don't think a unanimous vote would reflect the actual sentiment of the community, the reservations of the community. The second thing that I want to point to in making this is that, look, we just concluded an election, Jersey City, and elections have consequences. I being one of those as a casualty of the election. And so to the victors go the spoils. And so this is what they've put forward. And this is, I think, what the kind of the best thing that Fair Share Housing could probably have gotten under the circumstances. And they've done a great job, I think, in advocating throughout this process. But they do have consequences. The last thing, and I think it's a lesson for me, after 10 years in office, is that I think the focus needs to be on empowering Jersey City residents. And so for Jersey City residents, for residents who feel a certain amount of resignation and feeling like there's nothing can be done, although they would like to see something more progressive and more that would be provide more affordable housing opportunities, the 20%. There's a certain amount of resignation there. And so in casting my vote, I think in saying I'm going to say vote no, it's the idea that that no vote will reflect the reservations that people have, and the idea that people want to see something more and see more affordability tools utilized by the city moving forward, whether it's the IZO or something else, and in particular looking towards other things as well around that, and ultimately looking to empower Jersey City residents kind of moving forward. And I want to assure residents that from my part, while my time on the city council may come to an end with this council meeting, my advocacy on these issues will not, and I'll continue to fight this fight. And for all of those reasons, I vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Councilperson Rivera
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank the Planning Department and Fair Share Housing and the council. Just like Councilman Rolando said, you know, we started this journey really in 2016 when it comes to affordable housing. And when you're dealing with the public, there's always people for an ordinance and there's always people against an ordinance. And so what you have to do as a council is try to find a middle ground in trying to make the residents happy. The whole objective is affordable housing. How much affordable housing will we get? We really don't know. This is just a framework, to be perfectly honest. So because of this framework, it will let us know, will it produce affordable housing or will it decrease it or we get nothing? So this is just a framework, and I want the public to know this is just a framework to start the process. I just hope that we get affordable housing, because from 2016 to 2020, times has changed so much, and everything is so expensive now, is that we're going to have challenges on trying to produce affordable housing. In the beginning, when we took office, people were for tax abatements. As we begin to journey in office, people were against tax abatements. And when you look at certain areas of the city, that's how certain things did get built. It's true, they did. They got built through some of the tax abatements. So now you see, now we added back tax abatements. So we will see if anything is produced. If they ask for a tax abatement, yes, we want 20% affordable housing. That's just it. Because we believe if we're giving you a tax abatement, then you need to give us 20% affordable housing. But we just don't know. So like I said, this is just a framework. This is a beginning. This is a beginning, and it started in 2016. It just did not start it in 2020. All right. So I just want to make that clear. And I want to thank Fair Share Housing, and I want to thank the planning board for working as hard as they did to try to compromise, to come up with something. It is said, if each side really don't like an ordinance, it's probably a decent ordinance. And believe me, I was at the table. Each side really didn't like the ordinance that much. So this is the compromise. So let's move forward with this. I vote aye.
Thank you. Just to recap, City Ordinance 21-077 is adopted 8-1, with Councilperson Navarro voting no. Okay, on to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.3, City Ordinance 21-078 is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, Article 11, Department of Public Safety, Subarticle 2, Division of Fire and Emergency Services of the Jersey City Municipal Code to define the scope of activities governed by various fire prevention permit types and to adjust the inspection fees. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, this is the last call on the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-078. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, council members, no one has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-078?
Motion.
I'm going to give that motion to Councilperson Prinzary. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-078, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-078 for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-078. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 21-078 is adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.4, City Ordinance 21-079, an ordinance amending Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping, Section 31, Parking Restrictions for Street Cleaning Purposes, and Section 31.1, Street Cleaning Review Commission of the Jersey City Municipal Code. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting.
Sean, I'm terribly sorry. Before the public hearing, I believe there was an addition to the ordinance that was made that I think was automatic, it was added directly. Apologize for not sending that to you direct. I can do that right now if you'd like. Sean?
I'm sorry, I was answering you. I didn't realize I was on mute. Yes, if you don't mind sending that to me, that would be great. And if you could just let us know where it was added in the ordinance, so we can just let the members of the public know that we're holding the public hearing on it without that being added, to be honest with you. Because that's,
okay.
You know, what was advertised is not what was added.
Of course. So the language that was added was that the quote, the administration shall have discretion regarding the timing, execution, and implementation of the modified street cleaning schedule referenced herein. Simply put, the purpose of this was that the city will not be rolling this out with, you know, all 6 wards border to border all at one time. They will be doing it on a piecemeal basis to analyze the impact of the new program, see what's working, what's not working, if there are things they need to modify before going to the entire city at once and potentially creating larger problems. I will find, Mr. Clark, I'll find the location where that was added and I will notify you as soon as possible.
Yeah, if you could just email me that, the whole amendment, we'll get to the amendment after we close the public hearing. Appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
So, Peter, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
So like you said, initially we said it was going to roll out through the whole city at one time, and now it's not. So I've been getting a lot of calls to the office asking for the timeline. Do we know when it's coming to each ward? Because apparently something went out, or there was a tweet that said it's just in Ward E.
Right, I believe that's correct, that the rollout will start in Ward E. I do not know what the timeline is for when that would extend to the other parts of the city. But I do know that it does appear that Ward E will be first. And I do not know what sequence and what timing it will be for the other wards.
Yeah. Councilwoman, if I could add, so we're gonna start in Ward E to start, and as we expand, we'll have obviously we'll have public notifications, and we'll work with each council member in their respective ward to ensure that there's advanced public notice. Maybe over the course of every 2 months, we'll redeploy a new one or work out the kinks prior with that respected ward's council member prior to initiating it. But we'll definitely make sure that the council member is aware and that there's public information readily available.
So
Was there any reasoning behind why Ward E got to go first? Just because I know Ward D would have loved to, I thought it was going to be rolled out citywide, but what's the methodology for why Ward E gets to go first?
In working with DPW, there was just we were looking at the routes and how the street sweepers operate and how the parking enforcement operates, and it was it was best to start with the less complex ones and then build around from there. Also, it has less main drags as opposed to some of the other wards that would impact some of the roads that go through several wards at once. So we just wanted to kind of isolate it and build out from there, Councilman. If you want to go second, we're happy to try to successfully launch that.
Calling dibs right now. Okay.
I think we should just go in alphabetical order after this.
I don't know about
Great.
So before we continue, I'd rather you guys hold off on asking any more questions so we can go through the public hearing, because I did start the public hearing before we did this, and we're going to have to make a motion to amend in order for this to take effect. Okay, so on that note, any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 21-079 without the addition of what our Corporation Counsel read into the record. Okay, this is the last call for the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-079. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, council members, no one has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-079?
Motion.
That motion I'm giving to Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second?
Second,
Is that second by Council President?
yes.
Council President Waterman with the second. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-079, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson,
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-079. Council members, as the Corporation Council read into the record, we do have an amendment to be added to the ordinance 21-079. Corporation Council, if you wouldn't mind just reiterating the language that needs to be read into the record, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you could also email me the amendment, I would appreciate that too.
Sure. The addition is going to be, it's a section B under chapter 332-31, parking restrictions for street cleaning purposes, removing the original section A and section B, replacing the, as published, replacing section A with the below table entitled parking restrictions for street cleaning purposes shall serve as the street cleaning schedule for the city of Jersey City. Section B, which will be the addition, is the administration shall have discretion regarding the timing, execution, and implementation of the modified street cleaning schedule referenced herein. And Mr. Clerk, I will forward that to you right now.
Thank you so much. So, council members, I need a motion to amend City Ordinance 21-079, and Corporation Council read into the record the entire amendment. And Corporation Council, just for the record, this amendment is not a significant change, correct?
No, it's not. Due to the fact that it would affect and essentially slow down the implementation. It would not have the impact of being a significant change.
Thank you so much. May I have a motion to amend City Ordinance 21?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Baggiano. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President Waterman. Just council members, just so you know, it's a little difficult to hear you guys in the order that you're actually speaking, because when you guys say it all at the same time, it's hard to determine who's first when we're virtual. So just keep that in mind. So I have a motion made by Councilperson Baggiano, seconded by Council President Waterman to amend City Ordinance 21-079. Councilperson Ridley.
Sean, I just want to clarify. So this amendment basically means that it starts in Ward E. Like, that's the change pretty much is what we're doing, right? Without this amendment, then it goes back to what we initially said of it starting throughout the city.
Corporation Council.
I think, as the business administrator just said, I think it was subject to, the traffic division engineering department deciding that, due to the layout, that was the best option. Nevertheless, so you could read that as, the practical effect of the amendment, that section B would be that it would start in Ward E. However, it simply allows for, and it clarifies the fact that this would be up to the discretion of traffic and the administration in any event. It would be subject to obviously decisions based on traffic, engineering, et cetera, what the impact of those changes would be in the short term and the long term. So it really just clarifies the point that, the implementation does require the input and is at the discretion of the administration.
So I think I guess in theory, I can kind of understand why it would roll out in Ward E, or be easier to roll out in Ward E first. I think that it was mentioned that some of the streets down there already have parking, sweeping one day. I'm not sure how valid that information is. So I get it, but at the same time, I think I would have liked a little more conversation and input around the whole change, especially since we publicly said it was going to roll out. And since a lot of the residents in Ward A aren't too thrilled with the idea of them being made to wait. And, we had some comments tonight about, I believe it was Jean who was saying that, everyone in in Ward E or downtown aren't necessarily, you know, rich, and there are still
Mhm.
working class people down there. So I do understand that. So I'm not trying to imply that they don't need a break as well, but I think for the residents in our area, it seemed a little tone deaf to start in Ward E and giving more of a break there than starting in another part of the city. So I understand both sides of it, so I'm going to abstain.
Good.
Councilperson Prinzary.
So in conversation with residents in my ward, it's fairly split depending on really where they live within the ward. I think that considering the routes and considering like the best way to roll it out was a good conversation. I just think that there should have been a broader conversation. I agree with my council colleague here. There should have been more input from the other council people to really kind of understand the needs of our ward. And I hope that we will continue to do that. And actually, I'm requesting that we do that and that this is reviewed, you know, monthly. And that the input is really seriously considered. In my ward, we have a couple of it, like we have Bergen Avenue, the Boulevard, and West Side Avenue, and that's where they have like the biggest concern. The smaller streets, they're very much on board with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and vote yes, but I expect there to be regular updates and regular conversation around the rest of the rollout with this.
Let me ask a question before the next council person vote. Peter, you can't put a clause in there that, you know, they could, I understand what the council people saying, I do. And they should have had more input in it deciding, because the residents do expect something to happen and it's not happening, and it's happening in Ward E. And I know quite a few of them get complaints that everything always happened in Ward E first. So what can we do? You hear me, John? I know you on too.
Yeah, Council.
You know, I mean,
yeah.
what can we do? You know, it's always been like that. And so we trying to change the narrative. So should we just leave the ordinance like it is and then have a conversation with each council person and then let them decide when it should start in their ward instead of saying this is the way it is?
Council President, I think what we could do is we could have meetings with each individual council member and assure that we hit a start date that works for them. I know that there were also some council members that wanted to include or exclude some of the routes that are currently mentioned here, which may require some amendments. So I'm happy to implement as fast as we can with the council members. We just want to make sure that we have the logistics down and that the operations are efficient, that we're not missing streets or you know, inappropriately finding residents, you know. So it's not going to be, you know, a year-long process, as Council Woman Prinzary asked, that, you know, we look at it monthly. We'll sit down with a council member each week to discuss their ward and how they want to see it implemented and how fast they want to see it implemented. This was purely for a logistics standpoint. You know, we're not favoring Ward E in any way over other residents. It was just, you know, we want to make sure we get this right, and we want to make sure we roll it out citywide properly, not all in the same day at the risk of possibly screwing it up. So I promise that it's going to be a speedy process, and that I'll work with each council member to make sure that we facilitate that.
Okay. All right, go ahead, continue, Sean.
Okay, Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye, yes.
Councilperson Saleh.
Personally, I don't like the amorphous language that is being used. You know, basically it's a open-ended, you know, project that the administration is going to have discretion regarding the timing, execution, implementation. I don't think that it's necessary. I think that there's a clause in there that towards the very end that says this ordinance shall take effect at the time and manner provided by the law. I think that the council should, at the end of the day, be the ones to say when it's going to happen. If there was more concrete language, I think I would be more in favor of that. I have to vote no.
Mhm.
Councilperson Solomon.
Just I guess for the record, I did not talk to the administration about Ward E going first.
We
It
know,
really was a decision that the administration made on
Right.
their own.
we
And,
know, we know, we know, we know.
Yeah. Understood. So with that, I voted aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
I know this will, be great in a lot of the parts of the city. I just urge the administration to be very careful when it, comes to the streets between Municipal and Woodlawn, because, taking any of those streets off for one day, I mean, I drive through there all the time, and it's like we need sweeping, 3 or 4 times a week and not just one. So I just urge the administration to be very careful about, changing the street sweeping between Municipal and Woodlawn Avenue. So with that, I'm going to vote no.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Interesting. I've got a little bit of a different take on all of this. So if folks will remember that going back to August of 2018, actually, I'm just going to share my screen if I may. Let's see.
Just a point of inquiry, is this is just for the amendment, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
1 second. Sorry, I've got the wrong. There we go. So going back to August 2018, I started a campaign and all this, a petition drive and everything, proposing to reduce street cleaning for most residential streets from 2 days a week on each side to 1 day a week. So I am a supporter of this and moving it forward. I never kind of got it, oops, I think I'm in the wrong, I switched. I think never got it, was able to get it written until, and then the administration kind of, during COVID, was able to move this forward in July of 2020. I am a supporter. I know when people look trying to figure out how to roll it out, I think we should absolutely make these changes. Obviously, you all will have the determination on how that will move forward after January 1st, as well as the incoming council people. My advice or recommendation is rip the Band-Aid off and do them all at once, and should have planned far in advance to be able to have these to implement and execute this citywide, and I would advise it to do that. But that being said, I am going to vote yes. And I just want to make one last note, which is between the inclusionary zoning ordinance. I think it's, I'm not sure if it's ironic or is, but I'm happy to and proud to see that even though I voted no on the inclusionary zoning, glad to see that we were able to move the needle there. And then also see that the street sweeping, these are 2 major initiatives that I got behind over my second term here as a councilman, second full term, I should say. And I'm glad to see, hoping that it has the votes to continue to move forward and finally get adopted, because I think it's the move in the right direction. I vote aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
I vote aye.
And Council President Waterman.
I vote aye, but I think what the council is trying to say is that a lot of times when some of these ordinances come forth, and I know it was a committee with this street changing initiative. And so I think the council would like to be more involved before it hits the public, so to say, because they do have concerns and their constituents do call them. I think that's what's the problem here, is that some of the council was not consulted on it and some were. So I just think moving forward, we need to do a better job in trying to reach the entire council, because we all have to cast a vote. So with that, I'll vote aye.
Okay, so if I could just recap. The amendment is approved 6-1, with council members Saleh and Robinson voting no, and councilperson Ridley abstaining. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-079 as amended, councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
I'm not gonna let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is something that's been wanted for a really long time, and while I disagreed with the amendment just based off of the language, I do think this is a great thing that a lot of people have been asking for, especially in Ward D. And with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Once again, I think this is great for, most of the city, but I just urge the administration to really, pay attention when it comes to the streets between Municipal and Woodlawn. I think it really needs some more work up there to maintain a cleaner and safer streets. So I'm going to vote no.
Councilperson Navarro.
Sean, what was the vote on the amendment?
The vote on the amendment was 6-1, with councilpersons Saleh and Robinson voting no, and councilperson Ridley abstaining.
So I have to admit, I wasn't completely attentive there. I definitely would vote yes. The amendment is basically prioritizing Ward E first, right? Is that not the gist of that?
That's the gist of it.
Yeah. So I have to apologize. I thought I was voting on the ordinance itself. Can I reconsider my vote for the amendment?
You can.
So I vote no on the amendment and I vote yes on the ordinance.
All right. So,
Sorry about that, Sean.
The amendment don't pass. Do it, Sean.
yeah, it does.
Okay.
I just got to recap the vote.
Okay.
Just give me a moment.
Okay.
So on the amendment of ordinance 21-079, councilperson Navarro is voting no. So the amendment is approved 5-3.
Okay.
1.
5-3.
With councilperson Saleh, Robinson, Navarro voting no, and councilperson Ridley abstaining. And councilperson Navarro voted yes on the ordinance as amended.
Correct. I vote yes on as amended. And everything I said during the amendment really meant to be said now. And I vote yes.
Got it. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, so City Ordinance 21-079 as amended is adopted 8-1, with Councilperson Robinson voting no. Next is item 4.5, City Ordinance 21-080 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, State of New Jersey, authorizing the transfer of city-owned real property identified on a tax map of the City of Jersey City as Block 21901.01, lots 1, 4, 6, 8, and 9, and Block 21901, Lot 4, to the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. I believe we have our first speaker on hold. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yvonne Bolfer.
Okay, Yvonne, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I'm not in favor of doing this because if you talk about affordable housing, what the city did in the 1970s and the 1980s, they didn't transfer land to the redevelopment agency. What they did is once or twice a year, they held sales of property, and the public went there and they bought property, sometimes as little as $500, sometimes much more. And regular people bought these properties, bought home, they had a 5-year period to fix it up, and I know a lot of people today who still live in those properties because excess properties the city could not use. They were paying taxes, full taxes, during the process. So you talk about a lack of affordable housing. When you constantly transfer a property to the redevelopment agency, who in turn flips it to a developer, you're cutting out the public. And that's how, and you're really hurting the public chances of providing housing for themselves. That's what I think. Now, the city should go back to what it did in the 1970s and the 1980s and allow some of the properties to be opened up to the public. And I think this is the reason why we're having a problem, part of it, why we're having a problem with property, because those sales had hundreds of people attend, and the city got rid of tons of property, hundreds of properties. And a lot of people became owners of property for the first time in their lives. And I think what we're doing is we're going the wrong directions. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 21-080. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, this is the last call on the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-080. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, council members, no one has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-080?
Motion.
Motion.
I'm going to give that motion to Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Baggiano. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-080, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-808. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-080, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 21-080 is adopted unanimously 9-0. For our next second reading ordinance, item 4.6, City Ordinance 21-081, an ordinance authorizing the sale of an easement to the New Jersey Transit Corporation affecting real property owned by the City of Jersey City in Block 287, Lot 5 in the town of Kearny, New Jersey, for the purposes of facilitating New Jersey's Transit's Portal Bridge project. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, this is the last call for the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-081. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, council members, no one has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-081?
Motion.
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Saleh. May I have a second?
Motion. Second.
Second by Council President Waterman. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-081, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavarro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-081 for final consideration and adoption of Ordinance 21-081. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavarro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 21-081 is adopted unanimously 9-0. On to our last second reading ordinance, item 4.7, City Ordinance 21-082 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to sell property located at 65 Commercial Street, 20 Commercial Street, and 2 Commercial Street, Jersey City, to the Jersey City Municipal Utilities Authority. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, this is the last call for the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-082. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please provide me with your full name and telephone number through the live event Q&A, and we will patch you through the meeting. Okay, council members, no one has contacted me through the live event Q&A. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-082?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Robinson. May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Councilperson Prince Airy. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-082, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro,
What's our action? Closing?
closing the public hearing.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 21-082 is approved unanimously 9-0. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-082, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson,
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro.
Yeah, just to briefly reiterate what I've said at caucus at the last, until November 29th council meeting. Too many Jersey taxpayers and ratepayers, customers of Suez, were promised refunds and credits due to the backdoor water tax scheme that has robbed Jersey City's taxpayers and ratepayers. And so we should do right by them first, I think, before doing any favors for the Jersey City MUA. And I know that there was a fee structure plan that was introduced conveniently before the final adoption of this ordinance, but I'm going to continue to say I'll see it when I believe it, and that there are still some unanswered questions there with regard to that fee structure plan. And actually seeing some reductions, refunds rather, and credits to ratepayers. Until we see that happen, I don't think we should be doing approving the sale of land, the MUA, regardless. So I vote no.
Councilperson Rivera
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Excuse me. City Ordinance 21-082 is adopted 8-1, with Councilperson Navarro voting no. Council members, before we move to our public speakers, at caucus, we did discuss that we'd be removing from the tabled agenda item 11.17, City Ordinance 21-074, which is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, authorizing the execution and delivery of subsidy agreement with the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency to secure payment of the principal of and interest on up to 169,810,000 bonds and/or project notes to be issued by said agency in connection with the implementation of the Bayfront redevelopment project. This ordinance was tabled due to the fact that the local finance board needed to meet and approve the ordinance. So we did hold a public hearing on November 29th, and we tabled it on that same day to be brought back at this meeting to be removed from the tabled agenda. So council members, I need a motion to remove item 11.17, City Ordinance 21-074 from the tabled agenda.
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Prinzary
Second.
and seconded by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to remove item 11.17, City Ordinance 21-074 from the tabled agenda, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson,
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0 to remove item 11.17, City Ordinance 21-074 from the tabled agenda. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 21-074, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano,
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh,
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon,
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson,
Aye.
Councilperson Lavarro,
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera,
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 21-074 is adopted unanimously, 9-0. Okay, council members and members of the public, this is now the public hearing request from the members of the public. Well, members of the public will be calling you in the order that you are listed on the agenda from 5.1 to 5.25. With that being said, please make sure that you are by your cell phone or phone, whatever phone number that you provided us. And we will be calling you. If there is a busy signal, it goes to voicemail, we will not be calling you back. That would be your chance that you missed. With that being said, I believe we have our first speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Marco Palladino of Tours Ave, Jersey City.
Okay, Marco, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Over the past few years, I've tried to push Congress to New Jersey Congress people to get onto Medicare for all because I think it's the right thing to do. I've met families who've lost homes, families who've been crippled financially from medical bills, and it's the leading cause of bankruptcy in America. Beating cancer is hard enough, but it's harder when the financial strain is put on by insurance companies who refuse to pay. Insurance companies make money by not paying bills. That's how their motive. That's their motive is denying care. That's how they make people. That's how they make money, is by making people sicker. Over the last few years, I've had my own medical bills pile up, and that's why I'm commenting to City Hall to pass this resolution for Medicare for all in support. On this year alone, I've spent $14,000, not accounting for the cost of health insurance monthly with government subsidies. And I'm asking the City Council to support that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we can just hang up the line so we can get the next speaker patched through, I greatly appreciate it. I believe we have our next speaker on the line, 5.2. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Megan Howard Novak.
Okay, Megan, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
One death or serious injury on our streets is one too many. So starts the Jersey City Vision Zero Action Plan, published in 2019, to operationalize the Vision Zero executive order signed by Mayor Fulop in 2018. I am speaking tonight to ask our City Council, do you believe that statement? Is one death or serious injury too many? Based on the events of the years since the adoption of Vision Zero, it is hard to argue that as a city we truly espouse this core value. Some small changes have been made, even a couple larger ones, but overall very little has been done, and traffic fatalities and serious injuries have not gone down. In fact, this year they've gone up. Do you truly believe that it is too many? If so, action is required. I live on the west side of Jersey City in Ward B. Within the past month, in less than a 1-mile radius of my home, there have been at least 5 serious crashes, one resulting in the death of 83-year-old Judith Baller-Fabian, and 2 others resulting in the serious injury of 2 children. My neighbors and I are terrified. I don't say this lightly or hyperbolically. I have had so many near misses by myself and with my 2 young children that I cannot help but imagine myself and my family in each of these tragic crashes. Walking through our neighborhood, it is impossible not to notice the disinvestment in street safety. The city knows how dangerous the streets that these crashes happened on are. 4 out of the 5 crashes occurred on streets identified on the city's high injury network: Duncan, Westside Ave, Bergen, Montgomery, and Kennedy. The intersection of Bergen and Montgomery, McGinley Square, is such a notably dangerous intersection that it was featured prominently in the photographs in the 2019 Vision Zero plan. But little has changed there. Whether we are talking about street design or traffic enforcement, almost nothing is done to protect the most vulnerable road users. There is no infrastructure to prevent cars from parking illegally at corners or crosswalks, and there is almost no enforcement of this critical safety law. Even when this dangerous behavior is reported on the WhatsApp, officers regularly respond that it is not illegal to block a crosswalk. Requests for the most basic safety infrastructure improvements made by concerned residents go unaddressed and uncorrected for months or years. A poorly installed road sign completely obscuring the visibility of the pedestrian signal outside a school has remained in place for almost 3 months. A request for a crosswalk at an already legal pedestrian crossing outside a library has gone unfulfilled for over 2 years. I recently put in a request for the almost completely faded crosswalk near my home to be repainted. The response? Sure, in the spring. We've already been told we can't get a traffic light or stop sign at this intersection because no one has died there yet. Apparently, a well-maintained crosswalk is also too much to ask for. Over 4 years ago, I participated in a walking study along the West Side Ave corridor with city officials and planners. There was an air of festivity that day. Colorful pop-up bump outs had been painted at the corner of Belmont and West Side at the entrance to Lincoln Park. I got caught up in the air of possibility. A fairly large group of us walked the corridor from Duncan to Lexington, eagerly, yes.
Megan, your time is up.
Oh, well, could I just add one final sentence, please? I just want to say that I encourage the council members to please read the full Vision Zero action plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yvonne Bolser.
Okay, Yvonne, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I did not receive what I requested for the previous meeting, which was the issue on the 2 to 4 family rent control. Has that expired? Whether or not there is open space on the bill, and the water testing. You know, it's difficult getting anything from the city. And I say this as a person who's been attending meetings since the 1970s. This is the worst city council for getting public information. It is the worst. The other thing I want to bring up is that I believe that I should be receiving, and everyone else should be receiving, when we receive our tax bills, we should have a copy of the debt. And since you people are so much involved in affordable housing, I would like to know that when I receive my bill, how much money I am subsidizing other people, whether it is rent control or affordable housing, because it's totally wrong to play this game of stealing from one group of people to give to another group of people. It is totally wrong, especially in Jersey City, where they go back to the first 3 quarters and your house will go into lien. If you go to Hoboken, they don't do that. They go from the previous year. So this is 2021. They will put your house in lien in the year 2020. But in Jersey City, it is exact same year. So if you have a problem paying for your first 3 quarter taxes of 2021, you're in lien. What we worry about, you know, newer residents getting subsidized housing at the expense of myself and other people. So I would like to say that. In terms of what was said by the previous speaker, I want you to know that the problem became worse when Hudson County got rid of Hudson County cops. They used to go over and took care of our roads, but the previous mayor was Schindler. They decided to go to the county and says, why don't you cut back on that? It's an extra expense. And since that point, we got rid of the Hudson County cops, fatalities and roads went through the roof, especially Kennedy Boulevard. So that was a main issue that we had, that one and Tunnelly Avenue. But it went to other roads too. So that's the problem we have when we decide to get rid of a department. So that's all I have to say. I guess in Jersey City, we don't get information at all. It's all pretend. Whereas other municipalities, other mayors and other administration, they did come across with information. And I'm talking about people like Brett Schindler or Jerry McCann. Those were really unusual administrations. But if you ask for public information, you got it immediately. Thank you very much.
Okay, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Sure. Good evening, Jersey City Council. My name is Anna Martavishki. I'm the Northeast Regional Organizer for Our Revolution. I live in New Jersey, and I'm here.
Anna,
yep.
Just give me 1 second. I just got to give you a countdown on your time. Your time is going to start on my count. That's okay.
Awesome.
Countdown is going in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so my name is Anna Martavishki. As I said, I'm the regional organizer for the Northeast region for Our Revolution. I live in New Jersey, and I'm here to thank you for considering and supporting the Medicare for All resolution that's on the agenda tonight. Many of us have personal healthcare stories and lived experiences with our for-profit healthcare system. I myself became a political organizer because of my own healthcare story that started 7 years ago when my son was born. Today, with Our Revolution and groups like Public Citizen, DSA, and others, we are part of the grassroots movement to win a national guaranteed healthcare system that leaves no one behind. In New Jersey, we passed 12 local Medicare for All resolutions in the last year and a half. Our most recent resolution was passed unanimously in Hoboken on December 1st. City governments across the state have been on the front lines in responding to the tragedy of COVID-19, hitting our communities hard, especially communities of color, low-income folks, the working class, people who are deemed essential, but who remain unprotected and uncared for by the status quo. An estimated 27 million people lost their healthcare with their jobs at the start of the pandemic, and we have seen the stories of outrageous medical bills for COVID tests and treatment despite promised full coverage. At the same time, health insurance companies have made record profits. As New Jersey faced the third highest number of COVID deaths as a proportion of its population, cities across the state are concerned that the lack of comprehensive health coverage threatens to put the health of every New Jersey resident at risk as new variants continue to spread. By ensuring the right to needed care throughout people's lives, Medicare for All will increase the well-being of all residents of Jersey City by keeping people healthier and ending the risk of falling into debt or facing bankruptcy due to medical expenses. When communities like Jersey City, Hoboken, Dover, West Orange, Maplewood, Highland Park, Red Bank, and others come together one by one to demand federal action to guarantee healthcare for all, our representatives will have to listen and pass this legislation in Congress to move America forward to a society where everyone can truly thrive. I urge you to support this resolution. I also want to express my solidarity and my support for the resolution endorsing the Philippine Human Rights Act. Our fights are interconnected, and we need to reinforce human rights standards all across the board. Thank you to the Council for your time, and thank you, Council Members Solomon and Navarro, for championing the Medicare for All resolution. I hope that you all vote yes. Thanks again.
Thank you. Okay, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Joel Brooks.
Okay, Joel, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi there, Joel Brooks, resident of Ward B on Duncan Avenue. Just want to urge the council to support 2 resolutions on the agenda. One, Resolution 21-864 in support of Medicare for All, and Resolution 21-866 in solidarity with Filipino human rights. On the first resolution, our House representative in District 10 is already a co-sponsor for Medicare for All, and hopefully our House representative in District 8 will become a co-sponsor. I will be brief, and I'm sure some of these points have been covered before, but I just want to highlight that even pre-pandemic, almost 20% of Hudson County residents were uninsured. And even people with insurance are gouged by for-profit insurance companies and drug companies. The cost of healthcare inflation has far outpaced wage growth, and so that it's just evident that we have an urgent need for universal healthcare. And I urge you to vote yes to show that Jersey City demands universal healthcare. On the second resolution, Jersey City is a sanctuary city by mayoral executive order. So let's live up to the promise in that order. Standing in solidarity with Filipinos struggling for human rights at home and abroad. Also want to recognize the contributions of the Filipino community to Jersey City. Hundreds of Filipino healthcare workers have been frontline caregivers, sacrificing their bodies during this pandemic, and we need our tax dollars to stay in the United States, not funding repressive anti-human rights government. So please vote in favor of that resolution supporting HR 3884. Thank you for your time, and I also want to say thank you, Councilmember Lavaro, for your service. I know this is your last meeting. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Okay. I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hello, hi, my name is Kate Molina. I spoke
Okay,
earlier and we spoke.
Kate,
Yeah?
Kate, give me a second. I just got to give you a countdown. Your time is going to start my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, council people, council members. Thank you again for having me here. I spoke on Monday at the caucus meeting and earlier on the 4.2 ordinance. I just want to reiterate that I am a local artist here at in Jersey City and Mana Contemporary, a member of Gabriella, New Jersey, and NJ for PHRA. Again, reiterating that Jersey City is a sanctuary city from the Fair and Welcoming Act of 2017, and which means it refuses to collaborate with ICE enforcement. And we'd like to request an extension of the humanitarian efforts towards the Philippine human rights defenders and endorse the PHRA. This resolution would be the first on the East Coast to vocalize its protections for human rights defenders of the Philippines and endorse the PHRA. The PHRA also advocates for funds to be redistributed locally and internationally towards healthcare and education. So on that note, I would also like to vocalize my support for the Medicare for All Act, Resolution 10.43, and work together on making an equitable, healthy, and safe city while keeping our political liberties intact. Also, I want to extend my gratitude to Rolando for supporting this resolution. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Laura Austria.
Okay, Laura, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, my name is Laura Austria. I'm a longtime resident of Ward A. I was born and raised in Jersey City. My family has roots in this area since the 70s and the 80s. My family also owns a Filipino grocery store just outside of Ward A that has serviced the Jersey City Filipino community since 1991. I'm here to register my support for the resolution protecting Jersey City human rights defenders of the Philippines and endorsing the Philippine Human Rights Act 1045 and Medicare for All 1043. As a Filipino American residing in Jersey City, I am registering my concern. What's happening in the Philippines, especially under the Duterte regime, is harming the safety of our family and citizens back home and puts the future of the Philippines into question. And of course, in any society, like right now in this council meeting, there will be general disagreements about how to lead our city, state, and country towards a better future for our residents. So this means everyone should have the freedom of speech and the right to any sort of discourse if it pertains to figuring out or critiquing the sort of future. In Resolution 1045, it mentions that the anti-terror law can criminalize or red tag Filipinos, regardless of if they are citizens or not, and even if they live outside the Philippines. This is concerning and is a threat to people's safety and future. How can we work towards a better future if we are not even safe to put ideas on the table and figure things out together? And as far as 10.43, it's really about accessibility, especially under this pandemic. Something like this should have been passed before the pandemic, but especially with the Delta and Omicron variants out there, the conditions are even more dire and life-threatening than ever before. With low-income populations that have been part of Jersey City since the beginning, they have been the most impacted during the pandemic. That is still happening, FYI. Working mostly service jobs where they interact with so many people on a daily basis. They have to choose between sustaining their families or dying. Even having insurance ensures that they can get any medication, testing, or other things that might not be covered by the state. Services that are needed to continue to keep working families safe while navigating this pandemic together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You can hang up the line so we get our next speaker patched through. I greatly appreciate it. I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Mac Miller.
Okay, Mac, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, all. My name is Mac. I'm a resident of the Heights, and I'm a social worker as well as a community organizer. I just wanted to extend my support for Resolution 1045. And I don't have much to add besides what other people said, but I would like to provide a concrete example as to how the Philippine government is attempting to silence and criminalize overseas Filipinos who are criticizing their very own government. The Philippine National Police is actively setting up relations with local police enforcements and in the U.S. and is actively present in the Philippine consulate. They use this as an outpost to surveil local Filipinos who dare speak out against the government, which the International Criminal Court and the UN recognizes to be committing multiple human rights abuses. And so not only is this a significant precedent, but this is also a very important preventative measure to keeping safe the local and very large Filipino community in Jersey City. So again, I really want to just express my support for Resolution 1045, and I would also like to extend support for 1043 as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Just bear with us as we get our next speaker on the line. Okay, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Bonifay.
Okay, Jasmine, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to speak to you all again. My name is Jasmine Bonifay. I am a Ward B resident, and I want to highlight the local terror tagging that has affected local human rights defenders. I'm a member of Anak Bayan, a grassroots organization for youth and students fighting for national democracy in the Philippines. Anak Bayan is one of the many organizations that has been targeted by the Philippine government, and they claim we are terrorists. Due to the rhetoric of the government, it has caused some organizations and community members to turn away from us because of the negative propaganda. It has even allowed an organization called Filipino Americans Against Crime and Terrorism, or FACT, which is backed by the Philippine consulate, to spread flyers smearing our organization names all along West Side Avenue.
Yeah, just
it should be noted that our credibility.
Speaker 9 is speaking now. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Okay. It should be noted that our credibility will not be shaken by the Philippine government. Organizations like Anak Bayan have been integrated within this community for over 10 years. We have had various campaigns that have served the Jersey City community. Even as COVID hit, we helped to address the needs of the people through a food distribution program called Peace, Land, and Bread. Jersey City community members have even supported our cause and refuted these claims of us being terrorists. That is why I am asking for the Jersey City Council to support the Jersey City Reso to protect the local human rights defenders and endorse the PHRA so that we can continue to serve the people and not be swayed by these egregious claims. Instead of focusing on these claims, we should be prioritizing the needs of the people. Our U.S. tax dollars could be going to social services such as education, healthcare, and more instead of funding the war in the Philippines. I'd also like to stand in solidarity with those pushing forward Resolution 1043 that pushes for Medicare for all, because universal healthcare is also a human right. Thank you.
All right, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. That Jenny Tang, Ms. Tang?
Yes, that's me.
Okay, and you can begin speaking on my countdown. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Jenny Tang. I'm a Jersey City resident of Ward E, and I organize with Solidarity Jersey City and the New Jersey chapter of the International Coalition for Human Rights in the Philippines. I thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I call on you to vote yes on Agenda Item 1045, the resolution protecting Jersey City human rights defenders of the Philippines and endorsing the Philippine Human Rights Act. I've lived in Jersey City for almost my entire life. Jersey City is one of the most diverse cities in the country. It warms my heart to be surrounded by a community that finds strength in its diversity, and it warms my heart to know that Jersey City is a sanctuary city, which means that it refuses to collaborate with ICE enforcement. I'm calling on the City Council to extend this sanctuary to its residents who may be targeted by the Philippine government under the new Philippine Anti-Terrorism Law, which was signed into law last year in July 2020 by Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. This law effectively criminalizes dissent against the Philippine government and has extraterritorial applications, which means that this law also applies to Filipinos and non-Filipinos, both inside and outside the Philippines. The Anti-Terrorism Law is a new stage in an escalating pattern of violence against critics of the Philippine government. According to studies published by Global Witness, the Philippines consistently ranks among the deadliest countries in the world for land and environmental defenders. Philippine state security forces have also targeted and killed human rights defenders, organizers, people of faith, journalists, trade unionists, and other regular people who are simply doing what they can to create a better world. And all of this violence is occurring with the financial and material support of the U.S. government. Since 2016, the U.S. has sent more than $700 million of our U.S. tax dollars to the Philippine military and police. So rather than condemn the Philippine government for failing to protect its people and environmental resources, for failing its pandemic response, for abusing and killing innocent people, the U.S. government has instead funneled our tax dollars to fuel these grave violations of human rights. I call on the City Council to endorse the Philippine Human Rights Act, which will address the grave human rights crisis in the Philippines. And in the same way that the Jersey City Municipal Council in 2017 unanimously declared Jersey City as a sanctuary city against ICE enforcement, I call on the City Council to provide sanctuary to its residents, both Filipino and non-Filipino, from retaliation from the Philippine government. And I'd also like to ask the City Council to please vote yes on the Medicare for All resolution. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Please hang up the line. Speaker 5.11 did not answer, so we're moving on to Speaker 5.12. Bernadette Patino, are you there?
Hello. Yes, this is Bernadette Patino. I'm on the line.
Okay, hold on. You're going to begin on my countdown. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Hello. Good evening, council members. My name is Bernadette. I live in Ward C. I'm actually a very new resident to Jersey City. I just moved here last year and joined my partner here who has been living in the city for over a decade. I spent my very first year in Jersey City making roots in the community as an information worker and as a community organizer. This evening, I urge you to vote yes on the Jersey City resolution protecting local human rights defenders for the Philippines and endorsing the Philippine Human Rights Act, or Resolution 21-866, which is Agenda 10.45 on tonight's agenda. So in my day job, I listen to the needs of women business owners across the state of New Jersey with the Women Business Enterprise Council. And as a community organizer, I've participated in food distributions and community pantries, speaking with Jersey City frontline workers about their struggles to really make ends meet during the pandemic. The conversations with residents here in Jersey City has given me the resolve to advocate for this resolution. Human rights in the Philippines may seem like this faraway international issue, but it is deeply a local Jersey City issue as well. The Philippine Human Rights Act is really simple. All it says is that our tax dollars should not be used to fund human rights violators in countries like the Philippines, but instead be spent on important things like Medicare for All, such as the resolution also being presented tonight. Our tax dollars should be spent on healthcare, education, jobs, pandemic relief. This is what Jersey City residents desperately need. And this bill already has the support of 28 U.S. representatives, none of which I should note are from New Jersey. So should you vote yes on this resolution, it will go a very long way to get our New Jersey legislators to co-sponsor this bill. In addition, the protection of local human rights defenders for the Philippines in this resolution would be the first of its kind on the East Coast. I'm part of an organization called the Malaya Movement New Jersey, which advocates for human rights, democracy, and sovereignty in the Philippines, and many of our members are prominent people and Filipino immigrants in our community. My fellow organizers are being targeted by the very highest levels of government in the Philippines. We are being called, quote unquote, extremists, simply saying that our U.S. tax dollars should be spent here on our communities and not go into the hands of a murderous dictator in the Philippines. So I urge you to stand with your constituents constituents and vote yes on this resolution that supports human rights in the Philippines and provides protection for Jersey City residents. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. We can hang up the line to get our next speaker patched through. I greatly appreciate it. Speaker 5.13 there went to voicemail, so we're moving on to 5.14. I believe we have on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Marissa Syed.
Okay, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa Syed, and I'm a high school student at County Prep High School. I'm here today for the resolution in support of Senate Bill 692 and Assembly Bill 3388, requesting school districts to provide menstrual products in public high schools, middle schools, and high schools, with the state incurring costs, in which I participated in its making. Period poverty is an important topic. It brings spotlights to issues that must be addressed but are never discussed. A study published by Kotex has found 1 in 5 low-income menstruating people report missing work, school, or similar events due to lack of access to period supplies. As per the study, 1 in 4 people who menstruate struggle to purchase period products within the last year due to low income. Furthermore, federal and state safety net programs cannot be used to buy period product supplies, which lead to a lack of access and is linked to using substitute products and stretching product usage, which can increase the risk of certain diseases. The pandemic has further highlighted this crisis. The coronavirus pandemic and the economic downturn that have followed have only exacerbated the problem, leaving marginalized populations who are already struggling to afford menstrual products at even more of a loss. This is why we need to pass such legislation to help our community at large. Thank you. Thank you.
Sean?
I've been talking and I'm on mute the whole time. I am so sorry. We just need the last speaker to hang up the line so we can get our next speaker patched through. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Jean Daly.
Okay, Jean, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, Sean, do we have anyone from the planning board here? Not Ward or anybody?
They were not asked to attend the actual council meeting.
Okay, all right. Well, I just want to put this on the record, and maybe Council President Ms. Waterman and Councilmember Solomon can help a certain gentleman out. As you know, some construction is supposed to take place in Exchange Place Plaza. It's supposed to include a private corporate roadway. Right now, there's a gentleman whose property is on Exchange Place. His name is Richard Bronca. He owns a Hyatt House Hotel. Currently, from what I see, he's the only holder of a franchise agreement permitting vehicles in that area. He's been trying to have discussions with the Exchange Place Alliance. He's been trying to have discussions with Mr. DeMarco, with Mr. DeMarco's attorneys, and they refuse to speak with him. Now, since he is a property owner on Exchange Place, he actually used to be on the Exchange Place board. I think it's really offensive that they will not speak with him. So I'm just asking you, just alerting you of this, hoping that someone from planning, Ms. Waterman or Mr. Solomon, can make sure that this gentleman is able to speak with the Exchange Place Alliance because he has every right to, because they will be impeding upon his franchise agreement. Moving away from that, I guess I'm back to my old thing that I'm specifically addressing item 10.52 and 10.53. We're reappointing and appointing 2 members to the Ethical Standards Board. And still, for the life of me, there are no ethical standard boards on the Jersey City website. Apparently, nobody cares or is not interested, and I really take quite offense to this because I've been asking time and time and time again. Also, there's no resumes about these individuals and what their capacity is. So I find that really, again, offensive. And I'm asking, please put the Ethical Standards Board, its meeting dates the members of this standards board on the Jersey City website, because I'm tired of having to Oprah to get this information. Lastly, in the letters, under letter 6.3, there's something that says, it's a letter regarding the minutes of the regular meetings of the Board of Directors held October 18th, 2021. But it doesn't say what the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of what. So I think that needs to be corrected, and I hope you do so. And again, I agree with the Filipino issue as well as Medicare for All. And thank you very much for your time. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, thanks, Jean. Thanks for pointing out the 6.3. I'll make sure that is corrected. And if you do need a list of the board members of the Ethical Standards Board, I'll be more than happy to email you those members. And we are working on getting not just the Ethical Standards Board, but all the board members to be listed on the city's website. Not something that is easily done. It may sound easy, but it's not. We have a lot of boards in the city and it's constantly changing. So we will have that updated as soon as possible. But if you do need a copy of the members, I'll be more than happy to provide that to you. The other reason that you don't see the resumes on the attachments for the Ethical Standards Board, because they are reappointments. When they reappointed, the resumes, the council members do not require the resumes on the reappointments unless it's requested by a specific council member or all of the council. With that being said, I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Patrick Conlon.
Okay, Patrick, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, Council. First off, I just want to express solidarity with the Filipino Human Rights Act and the Medicare for All issues. I have a worker from the Philippines at my bike shop in Newark, and he's one of the most amazing guys I've ever met. And I've learned a lot about their country from him. What's happening there it's pretty shameful. The Medicare for All issue, I've been really lucky to visit some other countries around the world, and I've heard firsthand about medical care and national medical care in those countries, and they look at us and shake their heads. They don't understand how the richest country in the world cannot be providing medical care for its citizens. So I really strong support for Medicare for All. Putting my Bike JC hat on at this point, I just want to say congratulations to all the council members who will be retaining your seats for the next 4 years. And to those of you who are not, all the best in your next endeavors and in moving on. I personally am moving on also. I've put in my resignation as president of Bike JC, which will take effect at the end of this year. But it's been a really good 4 years of accomplishments, and I commend you guys for helping us make progress in the city for the streets. I mean, we have a Vision Zero plan now. We have an action plan. Things are moving forward with it. We have bike lanes that families can ride on Grand Street, on Washington Street. People can get around parts of the city now safely by bicycle. Bergen Avenue is amazing, provides great access for people in McGinley Square to get to Journal Square safely. We have a bike master plan that was developed by a great company and input from hundreds of residents in the city. You guys voted on it, in favor of it, and we need to keep using that and have that dictate the work going forward. And the work has to keep going because we, as somebody expressed earlier, the numbers of people getting killed on our streets continue to climb, and that's not Vision Zero. It's unacceptable. We have to continue to do the work to make the streets safer. I just urge you guys to stay with it. We got to bring those numbers down, and we got to get to zero by 2026. That's the goal. So let's work really hard at that. And thanks again for all the work that you've done so far, and keep it going. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, if we can hang up the line so we can get our next speaker patched through, I greatly appreciate it. Speakers 5.17, 18, and 19 all went, speaker 5.17 has declined to comment. 518 and 519 went right to voicemail. So we're moving on to 5.20. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Deanna Javeri.
Okay, Deanna, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Deanna Javeri. I live in Journal Square, Ward C. I wanted to thank you all for bringing the support for Medicare for All to the agenda in Resolution 21-864. I want to begin by saying that I believe that healthcare, the right to live, is a human right, and the American for-profit health system creates worse outcomes for patients and high profits for hospitals and insurers. This is by design, and it is unethical. I am privileged enough to have health insurance. My husband and I pay $350 a month in premiums, which is very low by American standards, simply because my husband works for a large tech company. This is where the privilege of healthcare begins, in access and then in affordability. As we witnessed during COVID-19, access to healthcare can be lost for reasons out of your control, a worry that weighed on me my entire pregnancy this year. I gave birth to my son 4 months ago, but before giving birth, I spent hours on the phone with our insurance, double-checking coverage, taking notes, becoming an expert in medical coding so that I would not be bankrupt while giving birth. I was told that some anesthesiologists were in network, some were not. Maybe I should ask to ensure coverage while I was even in labor, same with lab work. And if I needed an ambulance, there was no way to know if I would be covered, basically hope for the best. After my birth, I was contacted with bills in both my name and my 2-week-old son's name. This is a reminder that the bills are also only in the birthing person's name, who is solely responsible for paying those bills. I spent the first week of my son's life following up on numbers to ensure codes were correct and that I would not be left with the full charge. I did this while feeding my child and healing from birth. The total bill to my insurance for my unmedicated, uncomplicated birth was $75,000. The first visit to our pediatrician here in Jersey City was billed for $500. These are normal numbers. This is the story of giving birth in America. These costs are not without consequences. The U.S. has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed nation, and it is no coincidence it's also the most expensive. New Jersey is ranked 47 in maternal mortality. Women die every single day due to the lack of access to affordable health care pre and post birth. These outcomes are avoidable. They are disgraceful and be connected directly to the barriers of care we provide as a nation that centers profits over our community members. I'm really proud to live in Jersey City, and I truly believe our city is at the forefront of innovation, technology, and culture. We must prove ourselves as leaders on the regional and national stage. We must care for our neighbors, especially the most vulnerable children and new mothers in our community. We can do better, and we must. Please support the Medicare for All resolution by voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
This is Nida Gonzalez.
Okay, Nida, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I've been living here in Jersey City since 1985, and I've been working here as a dietitian. Have been involved in a lot of community-based programs like health expo, health education to the community of like almost every year before the pandemic. And I'm here to support the resolutions supporting the Philippines Human Rights Act, because I feel that it's very, very important and very, especially for a Filipino like me, to be safe, even here or especially in the Philippines when we go home. With the current situation that is happening in the Philippines in the last 5 years, there's no safety. You don't even feel safe with with the police presence. Like every time I go home, I feel that I cannot speak freely, because when you speak up and you criticize the government or you voice out your opinion, you can be in trouble. So I strongly believe that we need to pass these resolutions to support the Philippines the Philippines Human Rights Act against the violations of freedom to speak, or also, especially what have been going on, that they have been killing people who are on the streets, and if they tell you that you're using drugs or selling drugs, instead of being rehabilitated, you can be killed anytime. It's really hard to, when you watch like a lot of documentary films, and it's very heartbreaking, especially among the poor people there. They are forced to be criminals because of poverty and because of being pushed by some like people there that just to earn a living, they will be used by the people in the government to be killers. So it's not very safe. And I heard recently that even if you're here, you can be in trouble also if you speak up against the Philippine government. Another example, like for example, am I done now? Like,
Yes,
just want
your
to
time
check.
is up, idiot.
And time is up. Okay, sorry. Thank
That's
you.
okay. Thank you so much. Okay, speaker 5.22 has declined. I believe we have 5.23 on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Ryan Williams.
Okay, Ryan, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, Council. This is Ryan Williams. I'm a new board member at Bike JC. I want to thank you for your service this term and look back at some of the great work that was done in the last 4 years. So at the start of this council term, there were 0 protected bike lanes in Jersey City. Now we have about 6, which is a great start to a network. We've connected a few major destinations. You can start at Journal Square, take Bergen down to Montgomery, Montgomery down the hill to Marcellus Pacific to Grand. Grand gets you to Grove Street, also almost to the water, connects to Washington Street, which you can take up to Newport, pretty much get to Hoboken, NJ Transit, all that. So that's great. Those are some important places that it's now possible to get between on 2 wheels. And 2 wheels increasingly means scooters, pedal assist, electric bikes, not just regular bicycles. A lot more people can use these new modes to get around, not have to drive, not cause traffic, not need parking, if we let them. But sharing the road, quote unquote, with cars and drivers in this city on 2 wheels is just too unpleasant and dangerous for most people. So that's really what's at stake here and why this work is so important. Should it be possible to bike or scooter or e-bike? Can there be one way to get between important places in this city by bike or scooter or e-bike? Or does everyone have to drive everywhere? You still can't quite get to Liberty State Park or Lincoln Park, crown jewels of our park system. Pretty much anything in wards A, B, and D safely by bike. I do it. It's not great. Some people do it. For most people, it's banned. They can't do it. So the progress we've made is great. And I really thank you for your work on it. We should all be very proud of it. I look forward to continuing it. A couple other good things. City Bike has doubled in ridership just in the last 4 years of this council term. We're connected to Hoboken. There's pedal assist bikes that are just incredible for getting up the hills. It's wonderful between downtown and the Heights, pretty much. We need more. There's questions of transportation equity here. We need to make this accessible to more of the city. We're supposed to have 15 more stations on the way. Expanding that to more of the city is very exciting. So thank you on the work there. Look forward to more. Unipod is a secure bike storage company. We're supposed to get 30 of those. Having a place to lock up a bike securely is an important part of making it possible for people to depend on bikes and e-bikes, help them not need cars for everything. So with that, I'll just say again, thanks so much. I look forward to working with you all on these things next year, here or around town.
Thank you. Kate, we can hang up the line so we have our next speaker patched through. I believe we have our next speaker on the line. If you can identify yourself for the record, please.
Hi, this is Danielle Freire.
Okay, Danielle, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, good evening. I'm calling in to support 2 resolutions tonight. Resolution 21864 to support the Medicare for All Act. People should not fear bankruptcy when they decide to go to the doctor when they're sick. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege, and as a progressive city, we should be able to proudly support Medicare for all. So simple as that, and I'm excited to see that pass. I'm also calling in to support Resolution 21866, protecting Jersey City human rights defenders of the Philippines, and endorsing the Philippine Human Rights Act, which calls on Congress to suspend U.S. security assistance to the Philippines until human violations by Philippine security forces cease and the responsible state forces are held accountable. Jersey City has one of the largest Filipino populations, and our city is made all the more richer with its culture and people. I urge the City Council to support this resolution, which stands in solidarity with the Filipino community. Regarding the ordinance to replace inclusionary zoning to 10 and 15% set aside, so I wanted to comment on that. While I imagine this will pass, I think it's important to not forget the ongoing fight for affordable housing in a city that's pushing out residents every day. I'm troubled by what was ultimately compromised and want to believe that all of us want more set aside. Newark has 20% as well as other cities. Why couldn't Jersey City meet that minimum? Can you please commit to explaining to your constituents why we settled for less? And this is not an attack, but a sincere request for comprehensive explanations and your honest perspective. We should be proud of the decisions made. Are we really proud of 10 to 15%? I have to thank Councilman Lavarro. Because of you, I did get a comprehensive overview of what was being decided tonight, as well as pros and cons. I also learned that the Heights would be categorized as Tier 1, meaning we would qualify for the lower 10%, knowing full well property prices are soaring here and affordable options are needed now more than ever. Thank you, Councilman Lavarro, for helping increase awareness for your constituents. Your service will always be valued. To the rest of the council, please don't let this be the end-all be-all. We should be setting examples that we are proud of and making decisions that show we care about increasing housing opportunities. I really hope this is the start of the work. And also to echo what Jean mentioned earlier, I look forward to seeing information more readily accessible on the city's website, specifically about current boards and who is on them. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, our last speaker went right to voicemail, so that concludes our public hearing. I did have one person email me a statement to be read into the record, Deborah McWilliams, and I will read it. Dear council members, while the housing ordinance that you will be voting on today is a great improvement over the previous ordinance that was eventually ruled against by the courts, it's still deficient in some areas. The area I am most concerned about is the percentage of affordable housing units required within each development. 10 to 15% by no means is enough. No matter where I traveled within the city, it seems every new development labeled luxury with no affordable housing units included. This is totally unacceptable. As rents and living costs have gone up in Jersey City, many residents are being priced out of the city they have called home. If this continues to happen, Jersey City will become a city of nothing but more than one class of people, those who can afford to pay the exorbitant luxury rents. Is this the type of city that we want to become? As a transplant and longtime resident who has put down roots here, it's a sad thing to see. While I do favor this ordinance, it needs to be vastly improved by requiring anywhere from 20% to 50% of affordable housing, depending on the size of the development and the various affordable programs available to be used, so that different levels of affordable housing can be incorporated within each development. We must also make sure that each neighborhood has various affordable units available. Example, very low income, low middle income, homeless, veterans, etc. As it is the city's obligation to make sure that all of its residents have adequate housing. While this ordinance is a step in the right direction, I urge all of those on the city council to vote their consensus, but to also remember that any ordinance or law can be and should be updated and improved if it has glaring deficiencies as this one has. Should this ordinance pass, it must not be the last word on affordable housing, but instead it must be and should be changed to increase the percentage of all types of affordable housing included in all new and future development, no matter the size or neighborhood, Affordable housing of a minimum of 20% or preferably a higher amount must be included in all new future developments with no excuses. No development should be approved for building without at least minimum percentage of affordable housing, or we will be on a trajectory to becoming a city of one class and a type of people, which I do not believe anyone wants to see or live in. Thank you for your time and your attention. Deborah McWilliams. Okay, council members, that concludes our speakers and statements being read into the record. Moving on to petitions and communications, items 6.1 through 6.12. Any questions or comments? There are no officer communications. Report of directors, items 8.1 through 8.13. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, on to our claims and addendums number 1, number 2, and number 3. So council members, did somebody say something?
Come in.
Oh, okay. All right, so
we just come from the church.
I'm gonna take a vote on claims and addendums number 1, number 2, and number 3. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Badiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavoro.
Aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Claims and addendums number 1, 2, and 3 are approved unanimously 9-0. Okay, on to our resolutions. I'm going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.12. Again, items 10.1 through 10.12. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Badiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
To what number are we voting?
Items 10.1 through 10.12.
I vote aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Items 10.1 through 10.12 are approved unanimously 9-0. On to items 10.13 through 10.21. Items which are these resolutions 10.13 through 10.21. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Badiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Contract from
Councilperson
September to
Solomon.
December.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Sorry, to what number?
Items 10.13 through 10.21.
Okay, no on 10.17. The effective start date here was March 2021. No on 10.18. The effective start date was June 1st, 2021. Sorry, what was the last number?
21.
21, and I on all the rest.
Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, if I can just recap. Items 10.13 through 10.16 are approved 9-0. Item 10.17 is approved 8-1, with Councilperson Lavaro voting no. And item 10.18 is approved. 8-1, with Councilperson LeVar voting no. Items 10.19 through 21 are approved 9-0. Okay, on to resolutions, items 10.22 through 10.30. Again, items
Second one
10.22
that was January 1st?
through 10.30. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson LeVar.
Sorry, Sean, which is the last number again?
Items 10.22 through 10.30.
So just for the administration, I'm going to vote yes on 27, but the effective start date and end date is not well worded. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I'm going to vote aye on all. If you could take a look at that, please.
Thank you. Councilperson Rivera
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Items 10.20 through 10.30 are approved unanimously 9-0. On to items 10.31 through 10.41. And items 10.31 through 10.41. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
For 10.39, thank you to Marissa Syed, my intern, and Aiko Laboria from the Flow Initiative for working with me in drafting this resolution. We look forward to hearing about support from our members in the Assembly and the Senate here in New Jersey. And thank you, Councilman Rivera, for co-sponsoring. And I vote aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson LeVar.
One more time, Sean.
10.31 through 10.41.
To 10.41. Okay. I'm voting no on 36. My office has inquired about this. The effective start date is January 1st with an end date of December 31st. Not quite sure how that's possible, but I'll be voting no on 36 and aye on all the rest.
Okay. Councilperson Rivera
Aye.
and Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, if I can just recap. Items 10.31 through 10.35 are approved 9-0. Item 10.36 is approved 8-1, with Councilperson LeVar voting no. And items 10.37 through 10.41 are approved unanimously 9-0. On to items 10.41 through 10.57. Again,
Sean, could I
Yes.
interrupt you for a moment before we take the
Absolutely.
vote? I just want to state it on record. Peter and John, I don't know if you're on the line, but I want to state it on the record because there was concern about the cannabis board. Since this is a new board, I asked, could there be some input in giving the council a quarterly report since this is new? But since we passed the ordinance already, we would have to come back and amend the ordinance to require them to give the council a quarterly report. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct, Council President. Thank you for that. So we will amend our ordinance at the January meeting to include that language that forces this board to provide quarterly reports to the council in a timely fashion. And this board will not meet until that ordinance is fulfilled. So we are appointing members tonight, but they won't have any action until we update the ordinance.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to be taking a vote on items 10.42 through 10.57, with the exception of 10.48, which was approved earlier. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary,
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano.
I just want to ask a question, this thing on 1043, what is going to be the cost of something like this? They brought this up. I think it's a good idea. Everybody should have health coverage, but what is going to be the cost of this? Can anybody give me an answer, or can we get an answer within the next couple of weeks?
I think, Councilor Bojano, I can certainly send you different sort of reports that have been done on this. I would just say, from studying it across the globe, I think Americans, we spend more on healthcare than any other nation currently with our current system. But I'm happy to send you a couple different reports that estimate the cost, because there's different variations of what I think Medicare for All would look like. But I'm happy to send you that.
Yeah. All right, I'll vote aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
I just want to state that healthcare is a human right, and no one should ever go bankrupt having to take care of their health. And I know that there are large racial disparities within our healthcare system, larger than the Grand Canyon, and I feel as though the disparities will not cease until we have Medicare for all. And I feel as though this is a necessary step for our country. We're the only industrialized country to not have Medicare for all, or some sort of government health care, to be the richest country in the world, and to have people go bankrupt because of a health event that happens to them or their loved one is a crime. And we've certainly spent money on a lot worse things as a country. So we need to take care of our citizenry, and I think that the City Council, I commend the City Council for voting for this resolution. When it comes to the Philippine Human Rights Act, the threat of governments and their surveillance, whether it's of diaspora or of their citizens, that threat is seen with a lot of authoritarian regimes, and the taxpayers' money should not be going to regimes like that will threaten or subject citizenry or diaspora or family members of diaspora to harm. So I commend all those that brought this issue to the fore, and there's a lot of other communities that we do need to protect, and this is a critical first step in that in that quest. And I know that the local law enforcement will not be assisting any governments in surveilling or harming human rights defenders. And with that, I vote aye for all.
Councilperson Solomon.
Lot of votes here. So just going in order, 10.43, probably vote aye. Thank you to the organizers at Our Revolution for really pushing us to take this up. And I think, all my colleagues, I know particularly for co-sponsoring, Councilman Prinzary, Councilman Saleh, Councilman Lavarro, Council President Waterman, Councilman Rivera. It's just an ongoing tragedy that our healthcare system continues to bankrupt folks, leave millions without access to health insurance. And we look across the world and we see better options that provide better health outcomes at lower cost. So hopefully we can continue the long grinding work to make sure that eventually our nation adopts Medicare for all. 10.44, thank you, Raymond Martin, for the extraordinary representation of Jersey City and the United States at the Paralympics. 10.45, thank you, all the activists who spoke so movingly and powerfully today about an authoritarian regime targeting, free expression and political action. And as whatever we can do to stand on the side of those fighting, we should do. And so thank you to Councilman Lavarro for putting this on the agenda, and proudly vote yes. 10.46, thank you again, Councilman Lavarro, for putting this on the agenda. And thank you so much, Sister Francis, for your actions on December 10th, 2019, and for decades serving Jersey City. For yes on 42, 46, and 47. So we already did 47 and 48. For 49, 50, and 51, I'm going to abstain on all 3 nominations. I'd like, as a council, for us to have had more time and input in the 3 members of the Cannabis Control Board, and just had a much longer process. And I know we obviously had the caucus on Monday, but for a new board with a new composition, I would have loved for a real robust process to occur. And then voting no on 52 and 53, not in any way with the 2, nothing personal to the 2 folks mentioned, but just I think our ethical standard boards needs revision and a new approach and a broader mandate. And so want to encourage us to think that way. Yes on 54, 55, 56, and then abstain on 57. I'd like for us to have had a closed caucus to understand that. And I think that's what we're going through, right?
Corporation Counsel, are you here? Peter?
No,
I'm here. Yeah. What was the question?
If we were going into a closed session or had intentions to do a closed session on the settlement of Yvonne Miller, item 10.57.
I wasn't aware that one was requested. I wasn't asked to prepare the resolution.
I mean, it's okay. I'm just going to abstain on 57 if folks want to move forward.
Okay. Very good. Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to be quick here. Let me start at 10.42. This is a claim, and just for the record and for everyone, a claim is for these bills that don't have a contract, like there's so many that I've voted against that where we've incurred expenses and bills, and the contract date was old and late. You would normally file a claim, and I don't know why we don't do this more often. Hats off to the folks who actually submitted the claim, and I didn't get to ask what happened here, but I will vote yes on 42. On 10.43, just want to echo and say thank you to all the organizers from Our Revolution for their advocacy on this issue. I'm going to take a slightly different tact on this and and talk about the uninsured rates among low incomes and minorities, which are make up a large proportion of the uninsured Americans in our country. They're also among low income minorities the most vulnerable to COVID-19, and we've seen the ramifications of this, of being an uninsured low income minority in a global pandemic, disproportionate COVID infections, and disproportionate number of deaths, and the lack of healthcare access in this regard. And so universal healthcare will not only address these disparities, but most importantly, it will keep our most vulnerable alive. So we now need more than ever. This pandemic doesn't seem like it's going away, and variants are out there. So we need universal healthcare and Medicare for all now more than ever. With regard to 10.44, thank you, Ray Martin, for representing us in the Paralympics and your extraordinary success and accomplishments there. You are a shining example and inspiration for all people. And I'm going to skip 45 and come back to that. 46, Sister Frances Salemi, thank you as well, and for your work and at Sacred Heart for as long as you've been there. But for those who don't know, Sister Frances Salemi is the principal at Sacred Heart. And on December 10th, 2019, there was the mass shooting here in Jersey City, and she was the principal at the school there, where bullets literally pierced the walls of their school and their second grade classroom. And she courageously, along with her staff, went into that classroom and ushered the children out, crawling on their hands and knees out of the classroom, and ushered them to the basement into safety. So God bless you, Sister Francis, and thank you for all that you do. And then on the appointments, I'm going to abstain. Nothing about any of the candidates per se, with the exception of 10.54. I will abstain in all the other appointments. That's 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53. On 54, I do know Rachel, and I think she's do a good job there. So, and then that brings me back to 10.45 for the human rights defenders of the Philippines. In particular, I want to say thank you to Kate Molina, who led the charge here, and then all the other organizers from New Jersey for Philippine Human Rights Act, Anak Bayan, Migrante, Gabriela, New Jersey, and I'm sure I've missed others, but I want to thank Kate and Bernadette and Jenny Tang, Jessa Bonifay, and Laura Austria in particular, and everyone else who came out to speak in support of this and send us letters in support of this resolution. I just want to say, and Jersey City is a sanctuary city, and some people may be wondering, well, why does this matter that to issue this sort of resolution for people in the Philippines, but in fact, there is an implication for people here in America. I just want to read one line from the resolution. It talks about the U.S. dual citizen of the Philippines and the United States, Maria Ressa, Rappler CEO, Fulbright Scholar, and 2018 Time Magazine Person of the Year, and Nobel Peace Prize recipient 2021. She was accused and convicted for cyber libel and supporting independent journalism on President Duterte's war on drugs, when she exposed many of these human rights violations. She is a New Jersey resident. I just doing my Googling on that. She's a Toms River resident when she won this Nobel Peace Prize. And so the implications for folks with this anti-terror law in the Philippines, it's real, and they will charge folks because of that. And as a country, we should be protecting our United States citizens, whether they're here or traveling abroad, and ensuring that their rights are protected and that they're not subjected to these human rights violations and dictatorial actions. With that, I will vote aye on all the rest, except for the ones I said I was abstaining on.
Councilperson Navarro, just to confirm, you're abstaining on items 10.49 to 10.53 and aye on all the rest.
Correct.
Thank you. Councilperson Rivera.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, if I can just recap, items 10.42 through 10.48 are approved 9-0. Item 10.49 is approved 7-0-2, with council members Solomon and Lavarro abstaining. Item 10.50 is approved 7-0-2, with councilperson Solomon and Lavarro abstaining. Item 10.51 is also approved 7-0-2, with councilperson Solomon and Lavarro abstaining. Item 10.52 is approved 7-1-1, with councilperson Solomon voting no and councilperson Lavarro abstaining. And item 10.53 is approved 7-1-1, with councilperson Solomon voting no and councilperson Lavarro abstaining. Okay, and on to the balance of our resolutions, items 10.58 through 10.64. Before we take a vote, Business Administrator, did you want to put something on the record?
Yep, thanks, Sean. The administration is going to pull 10.62. I think the council would like to discuss this more at a future caucus and have a representative from public safety speak on it. So for now, we should pull it and we'll revisit it at a caucus beginning of next year.
Very good, John. Very good.
Okay, so we're going to be taking the vote on items 10.58 through 10.64, with the exception of 10.62, which has been withdrawn. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye, and I'm glad 1062 was pulled, and that should go to a local dealers here in Jersey City.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Aye.
Councilperson Navarro.
Thanks. And this is our final vote, correct?
Yeah, this is from 1058 through 1064, with the exception of 10.62, which has been withdrawn.
Great. So if you'll indulge me, I just want to take the liberty. This is my final city council meeting. And so I'll take this opportunity, since this is my last opportunity to speak this evening, to just say a couple of things. What's that? Just say a couple of things. Thank you to the people of Jersey City and the residents. I've had the privilege of serving for 10 years here on the city council. I hope you feel that my service was done with integrity and that I've represented your interests well. For me, it's been kind of slightly bittersweet, but you know, my first full term in office, had an opportunity to work in cooperation with the administration and with the council at large colleagues as well, Council President Waterman and Councilperson Rivera, in accomplishing the goals that we had set out when we ran together in 2013. And then in the second term and going into that, I've changed my focus to trying to address the issues of gentrification and the affordability issues here in Jersey City with the kind of rampant development. And so I want to say thank you to my colleagues. Obviously I've spent a little more time with Council President Waterman and Rivera. We had some good times in those that first full term, and a little more contentious in the second term. And then I think with all of the council people, with probably the exception of Councilman Solomon and Saleh, since we had such a short time together, but had some contentious times as well. But I say thank you to all of you and for the working with me, even if we may have been on opposite sides of the issue on so many occasions. Thank you again to the people of Jersey City. Thank you to the city clerk and to your entire staff. Thank you to the city directors and employees for their support and for all that they did to help make my job easier. And even when sometimes it was made more difficult, I'll say thank you anyway. And lastly, I'll just reiterate again my thanks to the people of Jersey City. I will say that while this ends my term, people have asked me what's next for me around this. I won't get into great detail about that, but I'll just say that these issues are important to me here in Jersey City, particularly the issues of gentrification and affordability. And while I won't be advocating on this side of the virtual monitors here, I will certainly continue to advocate for the people of Jersey City and for my family and others as a private citizen, and wish my colleagues good luck as they enter the new year. And I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Councilperson Rivera.
I vote aye on all.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye on all.
Items 10.58 through 10.64, with the exception of 10.62, which has been withdrawn. are
I did.
approved unanimously, 9-0.
Yeah.
Council members, if you would indulge me for a second, before we take a motion to adjourn, I would just like to go on the record and say a couple of things. I'm going to put my face up there if you don't mind and see my nice, beautiful Giants background.
And Sean, when you finish, go by, each council person wanted to say something too. So,
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, if I can go first, that would be fantastic. It's my turn to actually do that. Councilperson Robinson, it's been interesting with how we met, and I know you were on the council for a short time for me, but all our conversations that we had when you would stop in the office, they're all going to be memorable. You always made me laugh, especially when, I was feeling down. And I remember when I first got appointed, it's a very challenging time going through the pandemic and stuff. And you always have that big smile, which you're doing now. And, and you always put that on my face, and you're going to be sadly missed. Let me just tell you. And I think I don't want to speak for the Ward F residents, but I know that they definitely thank you for your service and everything that you've done throughout your term, especially when there was the water problem. You went out there out of your pocket purchasing water for everybody. I don't think that gets forgotten, and it certainly doesn't get forgotten by me. I think you are a true asset, and you're going to be sadly missed. And I know you're not going anywhere. I know you're going to still be around your own businesses, so I know we're going to be seeing you. And I promise I will definitely visit your establishments. With that being said, also, Councilperson Lavarro, I know you a very long time, 10 years on the council. I remember when you got your job being a council aide to Mary Donnelly. I mean, that's how far we go back. And you've been a very hard worker, a great council president, very easy to work with. Yes, you did ask for a lot of information. You did make some of our staff go crazy and stuff like that, but that's what council members do, right? That's your job. So you want to get the information, you get it, and you did. And again, Jersey City is very proud of you, and also it's a bittersweet, right? We're happy for you too on all your future endeavors, but you're going to be missed as well. And you were a pleasure to work with, as well as Councilperson Robinson. So both of you guys, kudos to both of you. You're going to be missed, and I won't forget. You guys were the council members when I first got appointed. So you'll always have a place in my heart, and my door is always open to you. So thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna go in order. Councilperson Ridley.
Okay. This is difficult. This is my first time experiencing this. Sitting on council and having colleagues leave and change out. Councilman Lavarro, we've known each other for quite some time. We were in Rotary Club together. I think that we first met each other years ago while during some school board campaigns before I was even on council. And, a lot has happened through the years. I appreciate the way that you are always there to fight for what you think is right at that time. And a lot of people don't know, but Councilman Lavarro is actually the person who encouraged me to become a committee person back in 2013. I don't even know if he remembers that, but it was Councilman Lavarro that encouraged me to do that. And, at the time I was involved in some other things, and decided to become more involved and become a committee person and join in the Phillips slate at that time as committee person. And I just thank you for your time that you served. Thank you for all that you've done for the residents of Jersey City while you've been here on council, and those things aren't forgotten. Jermaine, you're leaving us, but I feel like you're not leaving us, because I'm going to make sure I see you all the time. I just thank you for having a caring heart. I watched you do so much for people while you were here on council, and it seems like anytime somebody called you and asked you for something, you were there to support, to write a check. You didn't ask twice. You were always willing to give. And I think that that is definitely a unique character. You don't see that in many people, to give the way that you give. And I know that it is appreciated, and I know you will continue to do that. And you will see me, and I will be through for some lemon pepper wings. And I will be calling and bothering you all the time. So thank you both for your service.
Councilperson Prinzary.
So there's a part of me that is really pretty sad about the fact that we're not all here in person together, wrapping up this term. But this is the world we're in right now. So, you know, I think that it's been a really great 4 years working with you, Councilman Lavarro and Councilman Robinson. Rolando, we've known each other a long time. I know you were, you knew my in-laws, you worked with my in-laws at the college. You know, you were an immense supporter of the work we did with RTNA and our neighborhood association, and, and for encouraging me to run all together. So I thank you for all of that. We haven't always been on the same sides of things, but you have always been a fighter, and know that we appreciate the work that you've done for the residents of the city. I'll see you around the neighborhood, at the diner, just around the corner. So, best of luck to you in your next chapter. And Councilman Robinson, we've got the fab side of the city. I'm glad that we were able to do some really good work together for the west and south ends of the city. I'm gonna miss your jokes, because you've always got them. And to echo Denise, your generosity knows no bounds. And that is the quiet work that you do and that we all do. And I just want to thank you for that. So again, spend some time with your businesses. I'll be there for any and every, whether we're ordering pizza or ordering wings or Howard's favorite catfish sandwich. And just thank you both for your service to the city. Nobody knows how hard we work, but we know how hard we work. And so thank you both.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Rich, no crying.
Huh?
No crying.
I'm gonna miss teasing you. You're gonna miss teasing me. I'm gonna miss you, Jermaine. I really enjoy being with you every time I'm around you. And Danny and I have to get down to your restaurant down there. We've been saying it for a while. But Jermaine, it's been a pleasure knowing you. I'm really going to miss you, Jermaine. But I'll be seeing you. I'm gonna stop down at the restaurant stuff. So, and I hope to see you at some of the council meetings. Of course, I'll miss some of your comments, breaking my back, so, okay. So, and Lavarro, it's been 8 years or 9 years. Actually, it's 9 years we've been together on the council, and you've done a lot of good things on the council. And I hope you continue doing what you believe in, and don't stop at it. So. Both of you, I'm going to miss both of you. It's been a pleasure working with both of you. And it's sad that you're both not going to be here. All right. Thank you.
Councilperson Saleh.
Councilman Rolando Lavarro, first, thank you so much for your service. I know I have known of you for a really, really long time, through my best friend, Christina Belante, and I followed your career and trajectory, and to even sit with you virtually on this council has been an honor. And, even though we haven't agreed 100%, I am a firm believer that steel sharpens steel, and we've had many conversations even before I was a councilman, where I picked your brain, and, I sort of started to formulate my views on, the city and how it functions and what we could do better, and the future of this city. And, Jersey City is going to lose a wealth of knowledge and with your absence. So I do want to say thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for making me stronger. and smarter and faster. And just overall, I wish you the very best, and my phone's always open. I do want to say for Councilman Jermaine Robinson, I have tried your food. I ordered it through Uber Eats, and it was actually exquisite, and my entire family enjoyed it as well. And we ordered a lot of food. I think that you have chicken Alfredo in there, but it was really, really good. So you will be seeing my Uber Eats come through your restaurant. So, because I know you said you didn't want me to try the food when I tried the Red Rabbit food, but I did. I went undercover and I tried your food. But I do want to say that you have had a huge impact on not just your ward, but Jersey City. Your commitment and your steadfast support and advocacy for a rec center, community center for your community will not be forgotten. And for Liberty State Park and getting active recreation there, I think that, these critical conversations that we're having as a council did move Jersey City forward. And I do also want a rec center and a community center. I think there should be one in every ward. And I thank you for bringing that idea to the fore. And it's an idea that we as a council should continue to support and advocate and see to fruition. And, I don't underestimate your impact as a civilian, as a business owner, as a lifelong Jersey City resident. You've had a tremendous impact as a councilman, and I know you'll continue to do so, from your position in this city. So continue to fight the good fight, and don't be a stranger. All right.
Councilperson Solomon.
Thank you both, Councilman Robinson, Councilman Lavaro, for your service to our city. It has been a pleasure to serve with you both. Councilman Robinson, I echo all that was said. You're hysterical. I will laugh less at council meetings now. And I promise to make sure that I rib Councilman Boggiano and Rivera in your absence. But as Councilman Ridley so eloquently put, everyone can see how big your heart is and how much you care about our city. So thank you so much for everything you've done. And for Councilman Lavaro, it is, for me, very sad to see you leave the council, but I know how much you're going to keep fighting, and I have extraordinary admiration for your integrity and the clear commitment you put into this job every day. And as all of us know, it's not the easiest job in the world. Right. And you embraced it, and I thank you for everything you've done.
Okay, Council President, do you want me to just go right to Councilperson Rivera and then yourself?
Yes.
And we'll give, okay. So we're going to go to Councilperson Rivera.
So what we need to reflect on is both of the incoming council persons that are coming in have big shoes to fill. I first met Councilman Lavaro back in 2012, and we had an amazing relationship. During politics, it's not healthy to agree with everything people do and say, but my style is just to make sure that your character and your integrity stays flawless, and that's one thing that Councilman Rolando Lavaro showed and proved, and I thank you for that. You always put the constituents in the city of Jersey City first, and that's what's important. God bless your journey, moving forward. I hope everything works out for you. To Councilman Robinson, I'm gonna miss going out, in the middle of the night in the snow, in heavy rain. You was like my sidekick broadcaster, that was always making fun of me. But you'll be missed, man. I'm telling you, like I said prior, council people, Councilman Frank Gilmore has big shoes to fill, but one thing that is good is that you left him a blueprint, and we just hope that, he might not follow it to a T, but, that draft is important, for the people in Ward F. And I mean, I will hold both of the council people accountable because both you and Rolando Lavaro left great blueprints, and they should never be forgotten or underestimated. You guys did an amazing job for the constituents, but like everybody here, you'll be missed. I don't know who to text now. Sometimes I used to text you guys and make you laugh, but like I'll just now bother Rich Bogiano and Councilman Solomon as we've been doing.
Bother me anyway.
But listen, from the bottom of my heart, I wish you two the best. I will definitely go with Richie Bogiano to get some chicken wings, Jermaine. But I wish you nothing but the best, and may God bless both of you and your families. And don't be strangers. We promise that if you come to a council meeting, we'll let you go first before everybody. Take care and be blessed.
Oh, boy.
And
That's
Council
funny.
President Waterman.
Well, first, let me start with Rolando. Rolando, I want to say thank you. And the reason why I want to say thank you, because I know your heart. I know you care about the people of Jersey City. You're very passionate about it. You have a lot to be proud of because you are the first Filipino council person. And I'm quite sure you make your people proud. You fought for a lot of issues. And I always say when people ask me about the council, I said, this is one of the best councils ever, because I know this council really care about people. It's always the challenge coming. The challenge is how we get to the place of agreement, because we care about what the residents say. And that's not an easy task. People look at us and think, it's easy. No, it's not, because you always have someone on opposite sides. And so your place as a council is always try to get to the place where you can come to agreement. And Councilman Rolando is always that person who's going to speak for what he considers the underdog. And for that, that's a person who really cares about people. I met Rolando in the first term, and he's always been a fighter for the people. And so, Rolando, you can hold your head up high when you leave this office, because you did fight for the people. You really did. I know your daughter is proud of you, and I know your wife is proud of you, because what you believed in, you stood for. And so I do know that you're going to do great things. That's just your personality. You're not hiding under the rock nowhere. You might be at our first council meeting. Who knows? Ready to tell us off. You never know. So that's a good thing, because that lets us to know you care about the people. I do wish you well. I know you're going to do well. I do, because that's just in you. I don't expect nothing less but for you to do great things. And Jermaine, I'm happy for you, because I know what your passion is. You talk about business like, it's easy. And when you hear people talk, you hear people passion. And Jermaine is passionate about really trying to build his community up in so many ways. That's why you purchased another building in your community. Why? Because you really care about your community. You always been that person. If someone call you, because I've been with you, you go in your pocket and try to meet the need. You have a kind heart, and I know that stems from your mother. That stems from your mother. I know your mother's proud of you. I still expect great things from you. I know you're not disappearing. Neither is Rolando. We live here. This is, just see you later. To be honest, it's not a goodbye, because we're going to bump into each other, because we live here, and because we care about people. There may be issues that we will work together on. This is just another chapter that you and Rolando is just changing in your life of journey. You've been great servants to the people of the city of Jersey City. And so I want to say, I wish you well. May God continue to bless you and your family. And just realize you're just turning the chapter of the journey of life and you're getting ready to start a new one. I do wish both of you well. God bless you.
Okay, I'm going to give Councilperson Robinson first crack.
How much time y'all got? I said we was gonna be here 3 o'clock. So let me get this speech. Let me get this speech out that I wrote. It took me a couple days, so no. I'll be very brief, and I just want to really just say thank you to my colleagues for allowing me to serve with you guys. It hasn't always been the best of times. We've never always seen eye to eye, but we've always made it work. And the reason is because I know that we all love Jersey City and we all love the people here in Jersey City. This is definitely not a goodbye. This is that, of course, this is the next chapter in our lives. I'll definitely still be here in Jersey City in Ward F, still caring about the place that I was born and raised, and still caring about the future of what goes on, and from whether it's rec centers for the kids or affordable housing for us as adults. It's still a passion of mine to help the people, and I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you, not just the council, but all of the people in the clerk's office behind the scenes, the law department, all of the departments, planning, zoning, you name it, all the people that I got to meet over this journey that that believes the same thing that I believe in, the power of Jersey City and helping Jersey City. We have about 3,000, I guess, employees in Jersey City. And I just want to say thank you to all of those individuals, because, it takes a community, it takes a village to make a city go. And it's not just a city council. This goes a lot deeper than us. It goes through those 3,000 individuals that help run this city every single day. And, lastly, I'll just say thank you to the citizens, the 300,000 residents of the city that, call Jersey City home. I bleed Jersey City. I love Jersey City, and I'll always be here to do my part from Jersey City. I think the council president was right. My mother, she guided me in a lot of different direction, and being in city council, I can blame, her and my father for, making sure that, I didn't just make it out of the neighborhood that I grew up in, but a lot of people probably know my mother from, being around all the time. And, I always claim that, she beat me to do the right things, which she actually did, the whole family. But a lot of you probably don't know my dad, because he's the behind the scenes person. He's the hardest working man that I've ever known in my life. And the one thing that my dad taught me was you have to always give something back. You can't just get rich, or you can't just make money, or you can't just, get things. I guess the key to living in his eyes was the more you give, the more you get. And if anyone knows my dad and you go past that barbershop, you'll know exactly where that giving heart came from, because my dad is me times 10. He'll give you the shirt off his back. He'll give you his last dollar. He's probably cut 90% of Jersey City head for free over, the course of my life. And that's where I created got all my friends and family members from growing up in the service industry, growing up in the bar, growing up in the barbershop. And I got that all from my parents. So I just want to say thank you to my parents for, believing in me and pushing me and always guiding me to do the right things. And, sometimes I think I give and overly give, and you know, it comes without even thinking, and it's because my parents guided me and always pointed me in the right direction. So thank you, Jersey City. Thank you, City Council. Thank you, all of the behind the scenes team that made this work. And I appreciate all of you guys for letting me serve with you. I love you, Jersey City. Love you, Council.
And Councilperson Lavaro.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to be brief because you should have told me we were going to do this, and I would have kept it. I would not have spoken earlier in the evening. But just I'll reiterate my thanks, and just hearing everybody speak. Thank you for all your kind words. It definitely I'm moved, and it touches my heart. I want you to know that, and it's been a pleasure to be of service. And you know, like I said, I know it's been contentious over the last 4 years in particular, with the exception again of kind of the collaboration with Councilman Solomon on many things. But you know, we're all working towards similar ends, which is the betterment of Jersey City. And so I wish you nothing but the best of luck in that regard. And I'll just reiterate my thanks again to everyone from the city clerk's office, Sean and everybody there for all the work that you do, to all the departments and administration, directors and others who've assisted me with whether it be legislation, constituent services, or other issues and concerns and questions. Appreciate that, and I know it was challenging at times, particularly organic over the past couple of years. And then lastly, reiterate my thanks to the people of Jersey City, and I want to thank Councilman Waterman for reminding me that I am the first Asian American and first Filipino American to be elected to office, and so I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the Asian American communities, immigrant communities, but especially the Filipino community, which got me here. So I thank all those, excuse me. I thank the Filipino American community for entrusting me to represent them and the continued confidence in me through my 10 years on the City Council. Thank you to everyone, and I will take you up on the offer, Councilman Rivera, to come back. You can move me up to the top of the list, and you're going to ultimately regret that promise, I think. But thank you all for
3 minutes
time, and I will say good night. And it's been a pleasure for 10 years. Thanks.
Big virtual clap for both our council members, and a virtual hug for you guys. Thank you so much.
Motion to adjourn.
Before we do that, I know you always do that, Councilperson Rivera. But I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Desiree Marti is going to be leaving us. She's going on to bigger and better things, and I wanted to just thank her as well, not to take any spotlight away from the council members, but Desiree has been an asset to the city council and also the city clerk's office. I would be remiss if I didn't thank her for her service. In her short term as being council secretary, she's been an outstanding employee. And I know that the city, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm sure you feel the same way as I do. She's going to be sadly missed, but I think she's prepared the new person that's coming in, because that's the type of person she is. She always prepares, and she's very detailed. So she'll be sadly missed, but I wish her the best.
Yes, we do wish Des the best. Yeah. I just want to say this because I know she might be on the line, because even when Desiree is off, she's on the call. She's on the line. So she's probably on the line. And Des, I want you to know that I truly do appreciate you. When I took office in 2013, I saw your potential. I know you can do more. And all you needed was an opportunity. And when the opportunity came, Desiree, you proved yourself. So I'm wishing you nothing but the best. I know you're going to do great. We will definitely miss you. We will, because you're so detailed. We will definitely miss you. But we know life has to go on. And we know that this is just another chapter in your life. I'm just looking to hear greater things coming from you, Desiree. So you know how much you mean, to me, and God bless you. And like I said, we will stay in touch because our passion is women, and I know you'll be around. God bless you, Des.
Okay. So, Councilperson Rivera, I know you always do the motion to adjourn, but if you would allow me to allow Councilperson Robinson to make the motion and the second made by Councilperson Lavaro, just to give him a nice little send off, I think that is a nice thing to do. So I'm going to actually call it out, but if you want to, you can. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn at 9:46 p.m. Motion made by Councilperson Robinson, seconded by.
We're going all night long. Never mind that. I second it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I almost said, oh, did I regret something? No, that was great. That was great. It's the way to end it is to make people laugh. It's fantastic. On the motion to adjourn at 9:46 p.m., motion made by Councilperson Robinson, seconded by Councilperson Lavaro. I'm going to take it on the line. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye, and good night, Jermaine and Lavero.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
And Councilperson Robinson, on your last vote.
Hey, BA,
Your
I didn't
opportunity
forget
to say
you.
yes or no.
I meant to call you out, BA, when I was naming names, but the BA's office was really, really good with me over the last 5 years. So thank you to BA's office. And I say I love you guys.
We love you too. And Councilperson Lavaro.
I just want to say congratulations to Desiree. I didn't realize you were leaving, and good luck.
That's
Everything you've done for the city council and for my office as well, and to all the staff at the city council office. Thank you so much, past and present. I vote aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
You guys are going to be missed. I vote aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Well, I want to vote aye, and I want to say happy holidays to everyone. Stay safe. You know, this virus is still out here, and enjoy your families. Happy holidays. I vote aye.
Thank you very much, Council President, members of the Municipal Council, members of the public, all the staff behind the scenes. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And again, I want to give a big thanks to Bernadette, our IT director, for putting this all together from the very beginning during the pandemic. I was sweating bullets as a brand new clerk. And I'll tell you, somebody had said it earlier before the meeting started that we became kind of pros. But thanks to you, Bernadette, thanks to everyone behind the scenes there, John, Marlene, Amanda, everybody in the staff, Desiree, again. And obviously, their outgoing council members, bittersweet, but again, the door is always open and can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the future. And I know you're going to be around City Hall quite often. So again, going to be missed. But remember, teamwork makes the dream work. And stay safe, everyone. Happy holidays. Have a safe and happy holiday and a happy, beautiful new year. Hopefully this new year brings good things to each of us, and we can keep fighting this pandemic because it's not going away, unfortunately. But keep the good fight up. I'm going to give a nice kiss to you guys. Take care. Great. Good night.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Be good.